it's the Bennington Show, and this is, I'm going to guess, a Tuesday.
You're correct.
And that means two for Tuesdays. So we're going to back.
Yes.
There was a new dance craze started during that song, Joey Jojo invented it, of acting like he was cutting his own hair.
Cutting my bangs.
And I don't know why it doesn't catch on. So now we've got the same exact thing just handed out, but without Gail's additions. Am I right?
Yeah, I think maybe the first one is... No,
these are exactly the same. These are exactly the same pages. We're coming off of a perk addiction and doing our best. But as I pointed out earlier, the mood swings start to happen then.
Yes. The whole show got really into perks.
The whole show got all perked up for a week. There has been anger at the wrong places and then hysterical laughter at also the wrong places. There's only one thing that can help us here. Mm-hmm. Time and hydration. Try to get the actual paper with all the things, or just run another copy of the same one. Devil's Haircut starts us off today. This is the Bennington Show. Because Beck, I believe, needs two names, not just one.
Yes.
Beck Bennington.
Oh my God.
Our Adele
firstborn.
Bennington. Sting Bennington. Prince Bennington.
Madonna Bennington?
Madonna Bennington. Although, I don't want to call her Madonna Ciccione Bennington.
I don't know why she dropped the Ciccione.
Ciccione, Penn, weird English director, Bennington. I know, Ciccione is a great fucking name, right?
If you were going to pick one of the two, just go with Ciccione.
Why doesn't Adele have a last name? Because Adele is just like a normal first name.
Yes, I'm not really sure. I didn't even realize she didn't.
She is big for two reasons. First of all, it came out, she's the first artist to sell 1 million downloads in a week. And at the same time, they're now saying she stole a Tom Waits song. They're saying...
Really?
Martha. You know that song?
Yes, I
Martha.
do.
But they're not saying she stole melody. They're saying she stole the story. I'm like, well,
what?
It's an old tale.
Yeah. It doesn't come up much because to make that phone call, you have to be an older person.
Right.
The way Tom Waits sold it sounded like he was 70,
Right. In the voice.
Martha, this is old Jack Frost.
Now, have you heard this song, her new single?
Hello, is it me you're looking for? I have heard it, and I would say I'm an Adele fan. Not that I own anything of hers, but I think she has, something, and it's great, and it's terrific. And yay, Adele, and I'm going to join in the little girls jumping up and down more than I would, like, let's say a Taylor P. Swift. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I don't hear the Tom Waits thing at all. I mean, I guess you're talking to someone on a phone, but you can't do that.
He started that, though, phone calls and songs. That was his thing. But when the song dropped, as they say.
Yeah, when it dropped.
Nice. Sure. When the song dropped, the internet just exploded with people just being like, oh my God, the new Adele. I cried the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm an easy crier.
Yeah.
And I did not shed a tear.
I like her. I like, that Light the Rain on Fire. And she's always got her, and I hate to say it, chubby heart broken by somebody. Somebody left her for a thinner girl is what every song sounds like.
Yeah. Her big breakout album, I think, was just is a breakup album. It was
right.
She got.
But also, it was a dumped album, right? I mean, she's not leaving anyone.
No. This is kind of they grew apart song. Is that kind of?
I don't know. I just know the Tom Waits version. So yes, you know what I mean? And then there's Regret. But I mean, that's a great premise. The thing about the Tom Waits song that was so heartbreaking, and I think this was off his first album. I mean, when he was 70, he was actually 23. The thing there was, I kind of lost something by not spending my life with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
What would have been even better if he was singing it to a kid that he had left behind. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't a romantic song as I blew it. You know what I mean? We had this really magical thing. We let it get away from us, and I still think about it every day.
I think those, though, are the songs that I connect most with people, is the one that has more of a story. Like, if it's just the same kind of,
Right.
you know, like a little ditty and the same chorus, and
then,
you could tell that they're going through a breakup,
right.
but you have to kind of take them on journey.
Well, I think that you would like Mr. Jim Croce's song, Telephone.
Anything with the telephone. Beyonce's Telephone is probably one of my favorites.
Sylvia's mother said by, I can't remember, but I know that was Shel Silverstein that wrote that, where he was asked to actually put money in the payphone by the operator. The operator said 50 cents more for the next 3 minutes. He's like, please, if I may change. I don't know why we're playing this a little after the fact. Is that our gimmick?
No.
Do the haircut thing. That's always my favorite thing that you do. Chip, 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 chip. I was reading the other day that if you're a hip hop artist, you have to have a song about a dance these days. And here's what we need to do. And just make up the song, and we'll bring Joey Jojo to do an on-the-nose dance for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We could do that even with our parody songs. Periscope the dance to get it out there.
I love that idea.
Shit.
Yes.
Because these parodies, they're not, they're good, but they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
No, they don't travel. They do not travel. Mainly because they're about people walking into this room.
Right.
And I think that keeps them from being as universal with the kids. You'd have to have a show.
Right.
With the guests coming in.
Sure.
To really embrace this song.
It's a reoccurring theme. Someone's coming into the studio.
It's the studio.
They're just great. What did you do? Like a little Genesis thing there with the studio?
Studio.
You know that after all these years, Phil Collins is coming back. He said, I'm done being retired. That was stupid. Now that I'm in the prime of my life, I'm ready to come back.
I'm ready to welcome him.
I think he's going to tour. I think I want to buy a yacht tour, and I'm willing to play the songs from the 80s.
And I'm willing to show up for them.
He should do an album going, I had no idea you guys missed the 80s so much. I am
much.
Here. Yeah.
God, everything was so good.
There was something that happened in the 80s that I don't... the weirdest thing is that you would be able to put 5 or 6 singles off of any album and have them all be hits, no matter how cheesy they were.
It's a hit album.
Yeah.
Every single one. But yeah, Phil Collins' music is one of those things where it could be popular at the time, and then I feel like very quickly it became kind of a punchline.
I felt like it was a punchline while it was happening.
Was it?
I think like that's the studio song.
Well, yeah, that's later.
You were
Phil.
laughing along with it. I don't know. I think In the Air Tonight is the only non-embarrassing Phil Collins song.
What about Against All Odds?
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
like that.
like
And it's
that
an embarrassing
song.
movie, too.
Well, yeah, it's definitely an embarrassing movie. But I don't know.
But remember, even the video was her from the movie poutingly looking. And she was like an evil, terrible person. I mean, all she had was that she was pretty, Yeah,
I have not seen that movie in a long time, but I remember it being, she's kind of villainy.
Well, you know what? No, she's just god awful. She's crazy putty. Straight crazy putty.
Maybe it's not a Phil Collins song. Maybe it's like a Genesis song.
Same thing.
Where's the one where it was like later in their career and they're doing that like awkward dance?
Oh, yeah.
That's a really cringy song.
They're all cringy.
But what was that one where they're like, the only thing about me is the way I walk. Do you remember that song? It was so bad.
These are like 6 deep on any album. They never should have come out. There's the Against All Odds. Now, Shrekalov, she's going through some back pain, so she wrote to me, what movie can I pick up on Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, like any human being, I'm going to tell her, some weird John Hurd movie. You know what I mean? So, she wrote, and I gave her Cutter's Way, a.k.a. Cutter and Bone.
Yes. I love that movie.
Thank you. So she wrote back to me, who knew that Jeff Bridges was ever sexy? Like, what?
Me?
What? I'm like, what?
Not sexy.
You got sexy. I got, and I'm like, what?
What's the movie where he's a young boxer?
Fat City.
Fat City. He's so beautiful in that. Is that his first movie?
Well, I think as long as you don't go back and count his appearances on his dad's show, Sea Hunt. But Thunderbolt and Lightfoot he had back in those days with Clint Eastwood, and he was very attractive. Of course, against all odds, he was.
Oh, yeah.
He actually worked out for that one.
He hit the gym.
Yeah, he hit the gym hard. A lot of people complaining that we haven't done Scope Talk Live in a while. And honestly, that's because we're coming off Percocets, and there's no way to comment on Joey Jojo taking a date out and putting that on Scope last night.
I was at the Nets game yesterday. It was quite cute.
Well, although she was well received on there.
Yeah.
A lot of people had nice things to say about her.
Yeah, really, really nice things about her that I didn't show her at all.
Oh, you're saying some bad things.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't understand your sarcasm.
Oh. Yeah, they were saying some disgusting things about her, which I took as a compliment.
They were complimentary.
Yeah.
They weren't mean-spirited about her.
No.
I thought
They
she
were
was
just
fantastic.
vulgar, but they were nice.
Yeah.
In spirit.
I really liked my play-by-play of the game.
Yeah, that was boring.
Loved
it was.
that.
I think you with a date was the interesting part.
That's what everyone showed up for.
No, that was an actual date, right?
Yeah, that was a date.
No, you were very awkward on a date. Is that something you do on purpose, or could you not help it?
I think it's just kind of how I am.
Yeah.
But for some reason, some certain people dig it, you know?
Well, yeah, but
certain
I
ladies.
see it in movies.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like one of those guys in a movie. Well, you're like, I'm trying to think. Who's the famous movie star? He looks like the guy from The Office, but he's in all the comedies, and then he became Ant-Man.
Oh.
You're Ant-Man, is what I'm trying to say. You're
Paul
like
Rudd.
Yeah, you do that Paul Rudd. I
Yes.
don't quite know, but I'm cute thing.
Yeah, that's you.
But do you do it on purpose? Is that your Paul Ruddiness?
I think it's just a natural Paul Rudd effect that I have, you know? I'm not really doing it on purpose. I'm just being Jody Jojo,
Okay.
you know?
Well, she's really cute.
Yeah.
And this one is more serious than Freak Nasty, right?
About the same level.
So
as
you
that.
can't get serious about women.
I can't, not about her at least.
But you know why, right? Your relationship with your roommates is too strong.
That's true.
You
That is the
can't have
problem.
that close of bro friends and be open to female stuff.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
For a lady to get involved with a guy who.
And you're Paul Ruddiness. And you saw what. See, remember, did you ever see the Paul Rudd who didn't even have a best man because he focused on women too much?
Yes.
I think that was
best
called My
man.
Best Friend's Girlfriend, and she used to be mine. But you're just the opposite. You don't know how to be around women, and you're totally natural around men.
Yeah, maybe I'm just emotionally closed off around them.
Yes.
Or gay, but don't quite know where to put it.
Could
you know
that
what I
be
mean?
what it is?
And it should do. If you're going to put it somewhere, put it in the ass.
But I didn't think of the ass.
That's where it goes.
Yeah. That's why that's an easy spot.
Wonder why what that would feel like.
Well, you'll find out.
But sometimes, if you're feeling a little bromantic,
Yeah.
just think about it. Maybe there's something deeper there between you and
You're very close with your buddy friends, and that keeps you from being close
Oh yeah, I
with
mean,
a woman.
sometimes when we're watching football, I'll look over and just be like, "Hey guys, I really appreciate you guys' friendship."
Okay,
Say that kind of thing.
that's weird.
If you guys want to go get some Little Caesars and maybe some cheesy bread.
and I think this is what makes it hard on gay guys in America, is that so many straight guys act gay, and they do everything that you would do in a relationship, but they just do it with their non-sexual buddy.
so often too, they tend to be the men who are most judgmental, I think, of like homosexual acts.
Well, that's because they're so close to it that they feel the
Right.
heat,
They're just jealous of the freedom, maybe.
Well, it's like if you ever been up on a high diving board and you'll just be saying, I hate heights. You know what I mean? You're like, well, if you do, why are you on that diving board? Why are you rock climbing if you hate heights so much? And what they're trying to say is, I love heights. I love this feeling of confusion and weirdness.
You could be addicted to that.
A dick is just stop everything else.
I'm on a high dick.
But why, I definitely understand when you're a young man, your first things are your relationships with pals. You know what I mean? There's a man. Did you tempt or?
I was told he was only doing one thing.
Well, he just stopped at the door waving. Meeting. We got to do meetings.
Yeah.
I'll tell you somebody who had some interesting talks with me today.
Who?
Mr. Justin Stengel.
Really?
Yeah. And now when he speaks to you, I believe that he's speaking for both the brothers.
I think that's how it works. That's the impression I've got. The very little
but I want to spend more time with Eric. But I think there's some interest in getting yours truly in a Stanglehold.
Really?
Yeah.
In a positive way?
Yeah, I believe it's positive.
Like a comfortable...
Yeah.
Like a turtleneck.
Much like a...
All
yes. Right. A scarf is a warm Stanglehold.
I like a scarf.
You do?
Know that. Yeah. Although I did not wear a scarf today because today was the most beautiful day in the history of the planet Earth.
It's a perfect day.
Yeah.
I'm glad I spent it with you.
Such a perfect day.
Yeah, I don't know why this weather can't continue on, but this is the problem with fall. This is the problem. It's a moment's time.
What you're saying is this is the problem with God, that he has a perfect way of being. And by the way, it's not tropical. Everyone thinks it's tropical. It isn't.
No.
It's a lovely fall day.
It's beautiful. I just wish it could continue, though. But that's the problem with fall. With autumn, it's like that feeling of, I'm enjoying this right now, but you can feel the pending doom of winter.
Well, here's the deal. I'm walking in today after an early morning appointment, which I've been going through lately, and beautiful day, and I'm come up to Central Park. It's gorgeous. I've never seen it so beautiful. And I'm like, looking at it, and I'm like, this is so beautiful. It's, it's why we live for a day like today. This is why we're alive. And as I'm thinking that, the leaves are coming down so fast that I'm like, isn't this the perfect metaphor? Just as soon as you appreciate life, it's over.
Yeah.
The second. You should never appreciate life because it'll be over right after that.
Just pretend like it's not happening.
I had to scream out, I don't appreciate today. And yet I did. Much like Joey Jojo when he's with his buddies.
Love those guys.
Why?
They just get me,
I've seen them on your periscopes,
and
they're dicks.
Yeah, they're kind of dickish also.
Yeah.
Won't clean up after themselves, I have to be that person.
My JP wrote this to you, Joe. Maybe it'll mean something. Cheesy bread is a euphemism for a finger in the ass.
Really?
That's what they meant by cheesy bread whenever they keep asking for it.
And Joey Jojo just prefers the company of men. Is that true, Joe? You would rather be with a man?
No, I had quite the time last night.
Yeah, you should have. By the way, could you have gotten worse seats?
Oh, I mean, they're the cheapest. They're $13.
Is that really true?
Really?
Yeah, $13
well,
for...
First of all,
that's not
fantastic.
bad.
That's a movie. And you're at a basketball game.
That's cool, actually. I didn't realize that they were that cheap.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kept telling her money's not an issue for me. We can sit courtside. Which, by the way, sitting courtside last night, won former President Bill Clinton.
Yeah, but I'm as close to him now as you were last night.
Yeah.
I saw your seats. Bill Clinton, who is getting so frail.
He is, yeah. He's really starting to show his age. It's weird when that happens.
Yeah, the heart thing, Mm-hmm. He had him dig out his heart. And after that, it's hard to keep the weight on. The fucking belt just starts going higher and higher up to your nipples.
Holds the heart in.
Yeah, it's you just see that at a certain point, people have no relationship to their pants anymore. I'll just start to come. You'll just watch it go up and down. The belt goes up and down like an accordion when they walk.
I'm just doing it preemptively. That's why people think I'm so mature. I wear my pants so high.
I'm just growing into it, kind of like a person who grays prematurely. They still look good after 30 years. But I'm doing that.
Well, here's the deal. You looked good with that girl. For the first time ever, you look like a man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Instead of a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What does she do for a living?
She works in fashion with a very famous photographer. I forget his name, but I can text her right now and find out.
Yeah, find out.
Mm-hmm. Please do.
Well, just tell her that the reviews on her are just fantastic. Everyone liked her.
She wanted to keep periscoping, so maybe I'll feature her.
Well, what I want you to do is call this 500 Days of, what's her name?
Ariana.
Right, 500 Days of Ariana. Or unless you want to nickname her Summer. Because that's the kind of date that it looked like he was on.
It did look like that.
Now, let's plan the next date. You did the $13 basketball.
Yeah.
By the way, first date basketball game. That's kind of adorable.
It's cute.
It's adorable.
That's a very cute first date.
Now
And it's like something you can say later, like, we actually went to...
This asshole took me to a basketball game. Like, you wouldn't know what he thought of me. Second date, what would you recommend?
Go to Coney Island on the Wonder Wheel.
First of all, that's great.
It's great.
Wonder Wheel.
Yeah.
It's very romantic, but then lighthearted and fun. It's not too heavy.
No, it's perfect. Coney
Walk
Island
on the boardwalk. And it's kind of nice when it's cool, too. Like,
Okay.
All right, here's what you're coming up with that we're doing for Joey. Just notice it's 500 Brooklyn dates.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously brunch is going to fall into this.
Totally.
We're not going to be out of it. We're definitely going to do the mermaid parade.
Love that.
That has to be done. I got the great idea for you.
Okay.
You've got to take her to one of Dan's comedy shows.
Oh, that would be
Brooklyn.
great.
But don't tell her that you know Dan, right?
Okay, yeah.
So have Dan do some crowd work stuff.
Got
right?
it.
Uh-huh. I like this.
Say something to Ariana, then you and Dan already have a fucking planned line that you nail Dan with, and then Dan goes, "Hey, nobody's as fast as that dude. I'm fucking tapping out." He says goodnight. He's out of there. And then he goes and does 7 more shows.
This is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy enough for him to trounce one of his 9 fucking shows that he does every night. So that's a fucking great one there, too.
Yes. I've got another good one.
What?
Brooklyn Botanical Garden. That shows a very sensitive side. A walk among the flowers.
Maybe write a poem about it while we're there.
That's too much.
Too far.
Okay.
No.
Too much.
Maybe a haiku then.
No. No fucking rating.
I like that, though. Maybe a nice tour through Prospect Park.
Have we
Definitely.
have we found out who...
Not yet. Hasn't texted me
I
back.
got a great one. They walk Birdie one day for you.
Yes. That's what I do on my dates.
Yes.
So romantic.
Now, by the way, does she work for Stephen Meisel?
I don't believe so, no.
I hope it's not Terry Richardson.
Oh my God.
But I will say it's like a Terry Richardson type. Who,
Freak nasty style.
Yeah, who will photograph famous models.
Okay.
Oh, that's when you say fashion photographer, that's what we're, and you're in New York City. I don't work with any famous models. People's moms is what I do most of my work with. By the way, here's an excellent thing for you to do with it this weekend, that you listen to our show, GPS, New York City. You know?
That sounds great.
Maybe go to Prospect Park, turn on the radio, sit on like a blanket.
Wait, I got even a better one. You get headphones, double headphones, and you do a walking tour of New York while we're doing. This is where the old Mud Club was. This is where the Fillmore East was.
This is perfect.
This is where CBGB's was.
She would love that. I think that would really be the thing to really take us to the next level, too.
How far have you got base-wise? First base?
No, keep going.
Second base?
Keep going.
Is it a home run?
Yeah, it's a home run.
Yeah, because there's no reason. Was that last night?
No, it was a few
Even
weeks
before.
ago.
Pre-first date.
Pre-first date, you had sex.
Yes.
Drunken party sex?
Yep.
Halloween.
Love that. No, not before Halloween,
That would
actually.
have been great if they were fucking in costumes.
Before that,
And you could sit your and kids down and go, oh, no. Even before we dated, we started fucking at this weird Halloween costume party. Yeah.
in the middle of the party, we
Do you,
didn't even
and
care.
to say this, do you believe we did the anal first before anything else?
It's weird,
That's
right?
But this was the teens, you know? Things were crazy back in the teens.
She was so progressive.
Everything was really butt centric then. So
All right, Hosp came up with an idea. Take her to a burlesque show at the Bell House this Friday.
I have friends who've gone to those shows, and they're amazing from what I hear.
And in what way?
A lot of burlesque, a lot of nipple twirling, that kind of thing.
I don't think they're twirling the nipples. It's the tassel on the nipple.
Okay.
The nipple stays stationary.
Okay, you know what? 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. But if the nipples get twirled, I'm leaving. You know, here's a great New York thing. You could take her to Saturday Night Live.
That'd be
Oh
great.
my God.
Yeah, this is Trump is doing. You can stand up in the middle of it and yell, "My mom's Hispanic, you racist son of a BB." Because I don't want you know what I mean? I don't want you.
Oh, yeah. And you want to get it on air.
Yeah,
so.
you want to get it on air. You don't want to get delayed. Look, they're asking Al Franken about Trump hosting.
He likes it.
Yeah, he's happy.
You know, I've never seen SNL live. I've never done it. I would love to do it. Have you done it?
I have not done it.
I know you have.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. We've always wanted to do a thing, and Periscope is perfect of just what it's like to stand in line for SNL tickets, because some of those people are out there forever.
Yeah.
You know, that would make a great Scope Talk Live. Why don't you say that you're taking her to Saturday Night Live, but just take her to a hotel that's nearby?
Surprise! It's my dick.
Surprise, it's my dick.
That's what I'll title it.
Wait, you're
For
scoping
Scope,
this
yeah.
sex?
Oh.
Surprise, it's my dick.
Oh. Why don't you take her to Colbert?
Yeah.
You know, or where it's really easy to get tickets now, Larry Wilmore. You could probably even get her on the panel. You know, if you get there early enough.
Could you keep it 100?
Yeah, you can get her on the panel if you need to.
No, actually, one of my bros works there, so we can even
Which
go
one?
VIP. Luke, he was on the Periscope.
Which show?
Larry Wilmore.
Really? What's
Yeah.
he do for him?
He is a set dresser, but he's kind of their auxiliary guy, so the main
hold on.
one.
Your best friend, the reason why you don't hang out with women, is a set dresser. Yeah.
I'm really learning a lot about myself today.
New York Comedy Festival is next week.
Take her to one of those.
Take her to one of those. Take her to one of your red carpets.
Yeah!
Do you think she'd want to do that?
I think she would love to do that.
Let me see if I can't get, because they do a couple red carpet events. Maybe I can get you on it.
Okay.
And we'll act like she's your assistant.
Perfect.
Per dick. You see your little cousin broke his elbow?
I did. Yeah. That's so heartbreaking. How did he do it?
You know, that smart mouth of his.
Well.
No, I don't know exactly how he did it, but I felt so bad when I saw him. He's in a fucking sling like Chris.
Something about the idea of a broken elbow. Like,
now, by the way, so he broke his elbow and he's a sling, right? And he's a little kid.
Yes.
And he's able to do it without Percocets.
Oh, come on.
How was he able?
He's a sling bro.
He said he wanted to be able to get his work done correctly.
That's what I was thinking about the pain.
He's the same little cousin. And right now he's in a favored position of mine because he's at the age where he says the craziest shit, you know?
Yeah, that's the best.
But he said to his mother, I have no idea what it feels like to be full. When she was like, why don't you just eat until you're full and then stop? Because he's gone through this weird growing thing. And he says, I have no idea what it feels like to be full.
I'm always hungry.
Constantly. He could eat a ham and still be starving.
At the very least, still continue to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the last time I was down there, we found out that he had gotten into his grandmother's candy, and there was all these Reese's Cups fucking things wadded up behind chairs and shit. Looked like he had eaten 40, 50 Reese's Cups on his own.
Hide the evidence.
Yeah, but behind a chair.
Yeah.
A woman who's practically a clean freak as it is.
Kids aren't really good at hiding shit like that.
Because they know
you draw
they
on
would.
the wall, and then they just like put something in front of it.
They
just like tape a piece of paper there.
They know that
Hey,
they
what's
don't
this?
look hard at stuff.
No one will find this.
We're also just bad at hiding in general. You know, I think my little cousin, if he's not in my eye line, he's invisible to me. So I'll just be playing hide and go seek with him, just looking around, and he's just right underneath me.
Joe, you know not to touch him, though, right?
I mean, I'm learning that.
Okay. All right.
Every day is a new experience.
Every day is a new touch with you.
Spider says, why don't you take your date to a nice porno like Taxi Driver? First of all, that was the greatest fucking scene in history.
The best is his shock. Like, sorry, I just thought
You would like it.
this would be a romantic thing that we
Here
could
on
do.
Broadway, you know? You seem like you're open to this kind of stuff.
You seem like a cool chick. I don't know.
What's the whole story with young Taylor Swift? She's back in Dutch again, right?
Taylor Swift is in Dutch with this R&B artist who is claiming that she ripped off his lyrics for Shake It Off. And he says that his song, Haters Gon' Hate, is actually, she took the inspiration from his song. Now, if you remember Shake It Off, she says,
Haters gonna hate.
and also, players.
Gonna
Players.
play.
And he has the same line in his song, so now he's trying to sue her for $42 million.
Just give it to him. Just fucking give him the money and forget it.
I mean, if you listen to it, you definitely see the connection there.
But he did not invent the fucking term haters gonna hate or players gonna play.
No, that's what's ridiculous. And he said there would not be a Shake It Off without my song, Haters Gonna Hate.
First of all, I would never brag about Shake It Off, which is fucking a ridiculous song.
Yeah, I would let it. I would drop it.
I'd let it dangle, as they used to say in the old days.
Just let that dangle there.
Let it dangle, as we used to say in Miller's Crossing. Oh, by the way, remember just the other day we talked about Bugsy Malone, as I said, maybe being the greatest kids movie? Well, two of your little cousins in Florida watched Bugsy Malone for the first time.
Oh, really?
They couldn't get it because they didn't understand why the kids talked like that. They've never seen any 1930s, 1940s gangster movies.
So they found it hard to follow?
They found it hard to follow, eventually catching up and being like, oh, I like the songs. You know, Paul Williams' great songs. But they didn't go like, hey.
What do you know? What do you say?
Yeah, they didn't understand that at all.
That's so weird.
Yeah, their mom's fucked up. She doesn't know what she's doing.
You'd think at least the pie guns would have brought them in?
Yeah, I think they eventually got around to pie guns, but I'm trying to tell you why they couldn't relate. Because they have never grown up watching Jimmy Cagney movies. And by the way, if you're not showing Bogart and Cagney movies to your children, you're a bad parent.
Yes.
You're an awful, shitty, bad parent who should put your kid up for adoption.
That's up to you. It's your job to educate them on the important things.
There are children these days, though, they can't watch anything that's black and white.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, then fuck you. You're never going to see an Errol Flynn movie the rest of your life. How's that grab you? You idiots.
You look like a real dumbass.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that, though.
That is weird. At the very least, you would have thought they would have picked up some that are just, I don't know, on TV, replaying. Do they not play old movies a lot on TV? Because even when I was little, even movies
well,
that
there's
you
only
didn't
one
show
channel.
me.
There's only one channel. There's Turner Classic.
Right. That's the only
They don't
one.
play anywhere else.
I guess you're right.
Oh, I know I'm right. Because I go around looking for movies every night. And I don't want to Netflix it like a weirdo.
You want less control. There's too many options there.
There's too many.
Unless, of course, you have something very specific that you want to watch. And you're like, clearly this will be on Netflix. It never is.
No, that's the one that isn't on Netflix.
Yes. But then everything else is just and overwhelming.
There's so many cartoons that you could watch now as an adult. What's this? There's one that's got Rob Lowe in it, and then all these other stars.
Moonbeam City. I think
Yeah.
it's on Comedy Central. It comes on Wednesdays after South Park.
And it's almost like it's a parody of Miami Vice, but then also like a sci-fi. And it's just, Will Forte is in it and all these fucking stars. And I'm like, man, this is such a thin line to hit with this humor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't even heard of this one, but it does seem like there's a lot of these types going around.
Ever
where
since
it's like
Adult Swim, now
Adult
everybody
Swim.
has them.
And you're right, it's narrow because you have to be, young enough to remember shows that were like similar to this, but
Right.
not so old that you would, find this to be a ridiculous thing to watch.
All right, Junkbox came up with a great idea.
Okay.
Take your girl to volunteer at a soup kitchen.
Oh my
That's
God.
good.
That's going to
Yeah.
go over real well.
And then you're ladling soup into this pathetic person, like, this is my executive producer. His name's Chris. I just got some soup today.
Thanks, Joe.
Put down that scope.
Let it dangle, Chris. Let it dangle. Or, as I like to now say, let it stangle.
Yeah.
Because maybe I need that person to keep an eye on me around here,
I'll keep an eye on you.
You're into your own thing. You know what I mean?
Am I?
Yeah. You've got the future. I got the past. We got everything covered.
But together,
We have no
The
present.
present.
We have no present at all. Players gonna play.
Play.
haters gonna hate.
So fucking stupid. Why does everyone love her? Dude, when she was in here that day, the place went fucking crazy. Crazy.
It's strange to me. Jesse Graham's not going crazy.
I don't know who that is.
That's the R&B artist.
Oh.
She's beloved.
She's the biggest star in the whole world right now.
I had a good friend of mine tell me that I think she was going to New Orleans or something, and she was like, I said, oh, what are you doing there? She's like, well, I have a friend who lives there, but also really I'm going to see Taylor Swift. It's like, what? Do you mean that?
Can I tell you, Rob Cross took his daughter, his like really young daughter, to see her at Giant Stadium and said it was really one of the best shows that he ever saw. So he said the place was going crazy. Taylor Swift did an amazing show. She made all the kids feel happy.
Weird.
I don't understand how, because I just see her as like a big volleyball player.
But I also I get why, of course a young girl would like it, but there's tons of adults.
Yeah.
Adult
But
men.
you know who was like that? Britney Spears when she came out. When Britney Spears came out,
Yeah.
obviously the little girls liked her. But then for some reason, adults liked her as well. She's still around in Vegas to this day, making big bucks doing this lip sync show. Who knows why some people they love forever and some people they don't.
Yeah, that is strange when you think about Britney still doing that Vegas show. You're like, you'd think at this point, the people who still hung on to the idea of seeing Britney live,
Right.
and yet she gets to continue to do that, like sell out shows, or people,
Forever.
yeah. It's kind of strange.
Well, there were people with better voices than her that had a very short career.
Right.
Well, according to Kashmir, too, the gay culture really appropriated Britney and really made them her own.
Let's bring... When the gays like you,
Yes.
you're never going to drop too far.
No.
But here's the problem. Who knows who the gays are going to decide to like and who they don't like?
And maybe Kashmir will disagree with me on this, but I feel like when you fall from grace, they're still there to hold you
They
up.
love it even more.
Yes,
when
like,
you fall
oh,
from
she's
grace.
a tattered mess, but she's
Right.
our girl.
Longer for it.
Yeah. Now, why Britney out of all the pop stars?
She just is. It's like she has a little innocent smile to herself, and she's really fun. And her sister was in a big show when we were younger too.
So
it's kinda like a
Britney,
family
yes.
affair.
Christina, no.
Yeah, Christina, no. It's because she went on The Voice too. Christina, I don't know why that made me just.
I
kind of-
think that if Britney went on The Voice, you'd still love her.
I would say, yeah, no. Me and my friends always say, if we ever win a lot of money, we're gonna go to Vegas, eat at Giada de Laurentiis' restaurant, and see Britney Spears live.
I might even see if we can't send you out to do that.
Just a GoFundMe.
Yeah. Take a fucking weird listener with you and scope the whole thing.
It would just be like the best thing in the entire
Now,
world.
what is it about Giada that you love so much?
Oh, just her show is just so fun because like the way she says Italian words.
Yeah, put a picture of her up.
Oh, gorgeous! Yeah,
everyone loves her.
And
she'll be,
but she seems like a non-sexual person.
Kind of like an aunt, but like in a fun way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess an aunt can be in a fun way. But didn't they say that she did have an affair with somebody?
She's apparently now dating Bobby Flay.
Yes,
they both got divorces and are now together.
And that, apparently they said that happened before the fact. Now, Bobby Flay, he's a fucking, as they like to say, flayer.
Oh, yeah.
Flay is going to flay.
But you can see, Bobby, he probably has some, he's got some heat about him.
Sure.
But you're right. She is one of those people who looks beautiful and yet non-sexual.
It'd be like banging a puppy.
Right.
Right. Just as if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Nail on the head, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who else this is what kills me about the gay community. And I'm going to tell you the truth. It makes me furious about the gay community is that they do not support great gay artists. Rufus Wainwright should be everything that you feel about Britney Spears, you should give to Rufus Wainwright. He's fantastic. He's a great songwriter. He's an amazing singer.
He never came out on the stage with a live snake, though. You know what I mean?
He did Judy Garland's bit at the thing, note for note. He's amazing. He's amazing. And yet I go there and I go, oh, 2 gay guys are at this show. You know what I mean? It fucking drives me nuts. Gays do not support gays. They support these crazy women.
I think, just because it's kind of fun to watch them just put on a huge show, even though they're kind of like, I think it's a little bit that we know they're kind of crazy. Like I went to see Madonna when she was at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And I was just like, this is not a real thing that's happening. But it was literally just all gay. I went with one of my friends and she was like, I'm the only straight person here. And it was just so fun. And it was just live music, everyone shouting. Yeah.
And so it was fun, but it was shitty.
Oh, yeah, I knew. Yeah. She came out and there was like a nun doing a striptease on a cross. And I was like, this is, like the Pope is here next week. But I was like, I love it so much.
I don't understand.
Now, here's something I will ask you. I feel like this might be males in the gay community because I feel like lesbians support other lesbian artists.
Lesbians stay home no matter what's happening.
No, lesbians go out to lesbian-y shows and they support lesbians.
Name one that we'd all...
Melissa Etheridge. That was like a huge, all those like Lilith
Is that
Fair.
still happening though?
Yeah, there's still like a big...
Someone told me, and this was many, many years ago, that they went into a lesbian bar with Melissa Etheridge, and they said it was like Elvis, like the fucking women
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would imagine. She's beloved.
Yeah. But you don't see a lot of lesbians out the way you see a lot of gay guys out. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you reach the lesbian community, you're not a big star. If you reach the gay community, you're a big fucking star because they'll spend all their money that they have.
But I think that's because they're a little bit more inside and they will get into like little subgenres and subcultures, and even like lesbian bars are kind of like a little bit inside, where I think gay men are a little bit more open and then a little bit more pop culture-y.
That's true.
Gay men have the worst taste, though. This is what I'm pointing out to you. That at one point in time, when I was younger, when you had a gay film critic who liked you, or a theater critic, or a record guy liked you, if you got the gay audience, you were completely hip. Lou Reed had them, David Bowie had them, the Stooges, gays, all that thing. Now, if fucking gays seem to like Betty White and fucking just shit, where they used to be so pure in their taste. Now it's complete trash.
Why do you think it is? Do you think it has to do with being more acceptable, to be able to be out in the open? I don't know.
Their taste has gotten worse.
I think it's like what's being exposed to now, because now you just see like a Nicki Minaj is everywhere. So you listen to her, you're like, oh, this is fun, I can dance to it. Then you just keep on playing that because you don't, if I find a good song I listen to, it's hard for me to try and find another song I like by someone else because I'll just be like, oh, I know Nicki Minaj. I'll just play super bass for 12 hours.
Here's the thing. Gays actually used to be, the people who supported ballet and opera and the arts. And again, now he's talking about Nicki Minaj.
Exactly.
He's
You're right.
talking about shit.
And it's also hard because it's like there's not a lot of people like stop making a lot of ballets. I feel like too. I would go see one if I could.
I don't know. I mean, maybe there are.
Paul wants to stop in. Oh, great. Paul Feig is here from the Ghostbusters movie, but I think he's producing the new Peanuts film. So great to see him, Paul Feig.
I feel like Bob Hope dropping on the Tonight Show.
I love it, buddy.
Great to see you. What's going on?
There hasn't been a day since I saw you directing Ghostbusters that I haven't thought about it again. That was one of the coolest days, and I cannot get over. First of all, I'm not, I don't want to give any of it away, but those sets were so phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the film now.
Oh, cool. No, it's, I mean, I just finished my first edit on it. And,
how do you feel?
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Oh my God. The ladies are so funny.
I know they were hysterical the day that I was there as well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it's really exciting.
But did you get the rest that you needed after that? Because your schedule was insane.
I took 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
3 weeks in Italy. And, it was great. I actually walked out of there feeling so good and just couldn't wait to get back to the editing room.
How long does the decompression take you? Does it take a while to?
Yeah, it takes a good 2 weeks. That's why I thought 3 weeks was perfect. I usually do 2 weeks at the end of a shoot.
Yeah.
And I always kind of in the middle of it, like, wait, I got to go back. 3 weeks is great because you kind of get lost in it. You don't know when the end is. And then suddenly you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready. Let me out of here.
We've been, the Ghostbusters movie. And when is that due?
July 15th.
July 15th. So
2016.
Yeah. So I mean, unlike other art forms, there's an actual date that things have to be locked in with this. But the tremendous thing of seeing you on that big set with that staff and seeing the way everyone moved as one.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a crazy experience.
Yeah, no, it's I have such a team both in front of the camera and behind the camera now, and it's great. When I started out, I was always like, oh, I want to get to that point where you have like your crew and your people, because there is something about the fact that everybody kind of knows what you're doing. They know your style. They're used to the fact that I'll do endless takes, call in a million jokes, that we're just going to keep the cameras rolling. But yeah, they're just, so they know that when we're setting up and between takes, we got to move fast so we don't lose the energy and all that. And, it's really neat.
And despite all the hard work, it seems like it's an addictive thing to be a part of that kind of a production. Like, is it sad when you move on to the next phase?
Well, it is. I have a weird relationship with it because I love the people so much, but the process is so terrifying because every second of the day is a chance to screw it up. Like anytime you let your guard down, you go like, I'm going to miss jokes. I'm not going to think of something. I'm going to miss a moment that could be an iconic moment that just happens. And so you really have to be hard on it. So even though I'm like I love it and I get really sad at the end of it, there's a part of me at the end that goes like, oh, thank God. We made it. We're done.
Right.
Yeah. So, but then I miss everybody so much the minute we walk away.
Well, when I was up that day, I actually missed it when I left. When I left there, I'm like, I really want to feel this energy again. I even some people, I talked to Chris Gethard, who
Chris is great in the movie.
just did something very small, but he was when I told him that I saw some outtake stuff that you had done, and he's like, "Hey, is that the one that's saying it?" I'm going, "Hey, Paul's not going to tell me that." He goes, but he was literally going like this. But do you know if he's I go, I don't know. I would never ask that. What are you doing with this?
Well, I feel so bad for actors because having been one for so many years, because you do this great work, and then you're like, I don't know if it's going to get in. I don't know if they're going to pick the take I liked. And, there's no way to know.
There really isn't, is there? But, you know, I saw Melissa get off a line that was so funny that was in between stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so in between, and I wouldn't give the scene away, but she did something that was so funny because she needed a quick cleanup in there. And I'm like, damn, that would be...
Oh, yeah.
There's a major laugh right there.
Yeah, but that's why I always keep the cameras rolling. That's why I love film, and I've shot everything up until Spy on film, but I actually switched out of it because I need, more than I need the artistry of film, I need the long takes that I can get with HD, so I can just keep the camera rolling. Because even if she makes those things, I've got it on film. Even if I can't use it in the movie, I'll put it on the DVD or do something with it.
You love that kind of stuff.
I love that stuff, because that's lightning in a bottle. That's all I'm doing is trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Well, that was the other fun thing for me to see. The ladies are all I saw their focus, and they get brought in and out of this big major thing. You know, the crew's going all the time, and I'm watching them come in and go out, come in and go out. I'm like, this is, you know, this is adrenaline, like a really cool drug.
Yeah.
A healthy drug.
But, you know, people always kind of, actors' jobs are easy.
Yeah.
What's so hard about being an actor is that level of energy you have to keep up on constant alert all day. And that's always, it was always so hard when I was an actor. Like, if you're hired on, you know, in some small part, you sit in your trailer all day, and people always like, oh, you're sitting in your trailer all day. What are you complaining about? You're sitting in your trailer going like, I could be called at any minute, so I have to be ready to go. And most of the times you would sit there for 12 hours, and then you're like, well, they're not going to use me. And then today, and you got to let your energy down. They're like, come on, we got to go. And you got to nail it because we got 5 minutes. And you're like, oh my God, I got to hit this and kill with this. So I have great sympathy for, and I always very much like try to orchestrate it so they're not sitting around for a long time, because it's really a bad thing to waste their energy like that.
Well, that's what I was looking at. Their focus as they came in and out. It was so exciting to actually physically feel everybody on the set wanting their scene to go well, and then being pulled out again, and somebody else is coming in. It's really, really phenomenal. And I didn't think I would, you know, because I've always liked small movies my whole life, I did not realize how great it felt to be on a big set like that.
It's kind of addictive, because I mean, most of my stuff has been pretty small, and, you know, Spy was getting a little bit bigger.
Right.
But this level of kind of, you know, even seeing like green screen, I really wanted to make sure we did so much in camera.
Yeah.
But, you know, you still need green screens for set extensions and that kind of thing, because you only build so big of a set. It's really kind of cool. It's disorienting, because you're going like, I don't know what this is going to be. And you kind of, you know, we have all our previs and stuff we've worked up in our designs and stuff. But at the same time, you go, they're standing against a green screen at certain points. Is this going to look okay? Like, it's that fear of like, if you really are giving over power to another bunch of people, because the effects team, they go, oh, no, it's going to look great. It's like, I hope so, because in my head, it could look like a Sid and Marty Krofft movie, you know. But as we're doing even the preliminary stuff, and some of the effects are coming in for some of the stuff that we're putting out early, I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is really cool.
Well, you know, I saw that it almost seemed like you were almost partners with everybody on the set, that you had almost an individual relationship with each person, and there was no like bubble of people around Paul, you know what I mean? Like, something like that when you see stuff about movies, you'll see as the guy's moving, he has assistants, but there was so much wherever he went, and the number of problems and things to figure out on a set, it's phenomenal.
Well, that's all you do as a director, is you answer questions all day long about everything, about the most minute things and the biggest things. I mean, like, what color should this be? Do you want this prop? Do you want this, you know, this cup, this kind? And it's funny. You get home at the end of the day and like, you're just like, please, nobody ask me any questions anymore. Right. But it's fun. I mean, because that's everybody is a professional. Everybody wants to do their job right, and then nobody wants to let you down, and nobody wants to get in trouble for letting you down either. And as a director, that's where your trademark is. You know, that's where you put all this stuff in. It's so funny, people that don't know what directors do, they're kind of like, so are you involved in the casting? When I was directing The Office, I remember some woman said, like, you direct The Office? She goes, have you ever met Steve Carell? Said, yeah, I met him a couple of times. So, you know, so people don't understand that, like, you know, as a director, you are just, everything you see is you've either approved, or you've come up with, or you've blessed, you know, and so that's it. It's a real adrenaline rush, you know.
So everybody on that set at one time or another is going to get one-on-one time with you.
Yeah.
But then, oddly to me, they all knew, once they had made that decision, they all knew how to move. I mean, I was, the entire time that I was there, I'm like, let me just stay out of the way and make sure I see this. Because people were just moving.
Yeah.
Moving from one part to the next.
I'm the director. It's so funny. And yet at the same time, I'm in the way half the time. Because I'm a wanderer. I can't sit in my chair, so I'm only wandering around. And half the time, I feel like all I do is say, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, sorry. Because guys are pulling lights through and sets, and I'm like standing there, in their way.
That's so great. So they actually said to me, they were, after, you're going to view the day on the Ghostbuster set, then you and Paul are going to get together for an interview after. We have to explain to Paul where his trailer is. And we're like 90 days into this. Because it was like your third or fourth time.
I never see that trailer, ever. I show up in the morning, I think I go to the bathroom in it, and then I waved goodbye to it at the end of the day.
It was so funny. Those are long, long days, too.
But the nice thing that I got to do on this, and I did it on Spy too, is a thing called French Hours, which is my new causes now in the industry. Is like, it's basically what it is you work 10 hours straight. You don't take a lunch, and you do a walking lunch. So basically they have food circulating around the set all the time. You get inundated with food, quite frankly. But then you go 10 hours and then you're done. So it's an intense 10 hours, not stopping, but then you have a normal life. And as a person in comedy, I'm only good for about 11 or 12 hours at the most, and then my brain shuts down. And everything, you're thinking of jokes. You got to be on your game. And if I get into like a 14 or 15 hour day, those last 3 hours are, catch as catch can.
Yeah.
But it's also great because then you don't have a break in energy, the flow. If you're staying connected the entire time.
There's nothing worse than lunchtime, because it's a 12-hour day with a lunch in the middle. A 10-hour day straight through, you get 10 hours of work. A 12-hour day with a lunch in the middle, you get about 9 hours of work, because lunch takes forever, and it takes people an hour to kind of get back to their senses. I walk back to the set because I always either fall asleep at lunch or eat too much pasta, and then you're like logy, and it's like, what are we doing? So I think it's the greatest, and it also will save a lot of lives of crews working 18 hours and driving home and wrecking their cars and stuff, which is epidemic in our.
But also food wise, they're like lobster roll. I mean, they had these trucks full of pastrami sandwiches from New York. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
food.
Everyone eats well on my set.
Yeah, everyone's coming and going with, and they're talking about the food throughout the day. Mm-hmm. It was really, really fun. You've got the Peanuts movie, which you produce opening
on Friday.
Yeah. Now, how do you find time to be involved with this while you're doing all?
Well, animation is an interesting thing because you can kind of come in and out of it. But I've been on this for like 2.5 years. The animation's so slow. I've literally made 2 movies in the time that they were making that one movie. But it was fun. I mean, I got asked to come on board, like 2.5 years ago when they were just kind of starting up, because they were Freaks and Geeks fans and felt that voice would be good in the project. And I'm just such a Peanuts fanatic that I couldn't believe they asked me, and it was fun. I mean, we were going up to Santa Rosa a lot, working out of Charles Schulz's actual offices. Wow. I actually, we were doing a lot of story breaking, literally sitting in front of his desk where he drew all the comic strips. Wow. And it was pretty inspiring, and then the Schulz family was, they were the final arbiter on everything, and they were great and just, really wanted to protect the legacy. So I'm very proud of it. It's a very, very sweet film. It's very family friendly.
I remember being a kid when those things started coming out as cartoons. And they were like so sophisticated at the time, right?
Yeah, jazz music.
Yeah, there was really cool jazz music. They're talking about psychiatry, and you're like a little kid trying to keep up.
Yeah.
You're like, this really does not feel silly to me at all.
And it formed my life. It just formed everything because it made me start to think. Smarter.
Right.
And you would dive in. I'd never heard the word sarcasm until watching it. What is that word? I look up, that's what that means.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to bring that to the next generation and to really be kind of, reverent to what came before.
Well, that was always great too because adults really didn't exist in that world. It's like the kids lived in an adult world.
Yeah.
And
you don't even hear their voices.
Yeah.
Their relationships were so adult.
Yeah,
as
the
well.
relationships were adult. Well, we talked about this. You wanted to be an adult from your
yeah.
whole childhood.
Oh yeah, couldn't wait. Hated being a kid. Nothing worse. No, but that's why I relate to those characters, because they are, but they're not cloyingly adult.
Yeah.
Their relationships are kind of like what kids are. I mean, I think people dumb down kids so much in entertainment, and in kids' entertainment, either make them, they're so smart, but they're kind of like adult smart in like, I rule and parents suck.
Right.
Or you get they're just sort of, running around kind of doofy. And these kids have such real emotions. And I think every person in comedy relates to Charlie Brown.
Right.
Because
exactly.
the guy that gets, wakes up optimistic and then gets ground down and slammed down. But then Snoopy, why we love Snoopy is because he's the one that, lives his fantasies out. And he doesn't care what anybody thinks of him.
Yeah, the Snoopy, it's almost like, and Charlie Brown, it's almost Fight Club. You know what I mean? Where he's living that
That's hilarious.
That character can live somewhere.
That is the greatest description of Charlie Brown and Snoopy I've ever heard, John. That's hilarious.
I was, I know when we talked before, you said there's some, it was for the first time in your career that you picked up on the misogyny angle of just people worried about the Ghostbusters franchise. But I was looking at a thing with Amy Schumer today, and I'm like, they're dissecting her comedy in a way that no one ever does. With a guy. You're never asked to represent everyone.
I noticed that in her career before she had even hit big. She was still on her way up and becoming a household name. And I would constantly see little things in the news like, she said this and she said that. I'm like, why is her name keep coming up? And it's, I think...
Well, I mean, Sarah's gone through that too, and it's just like there's this weird extra standard that you're held to. I mean, even when we did we did The Heat, all these, people who didn't like it was kind of like, a movie starring women should be more like this is all they get. It was kind of like, well, why are we held to the standard of like they're just women in a movie? It's just like if everything has to be like this amazing thing or has to be this step forward, it's like we're just people who do comedy. We just want to make people laugh. Amy wants to make people laugh. She wants to make them think, but she wants to make them laugh, as we all do. And this horrible double standard that just continually goes on and on. It's never going to end.
It really is crazy because I'll never look at Bill Burr and go, well, he represents me and what I do. I'm
really.
like, that joke is funny. That one, not so much. Next one joke is hilarious.
Oh, totally.
But I don't feel like, Bill, you're letting us down.
No,
somehow.
totally. Well, it's like Lena. I mean, Lena gets attacked constantly. You know? And it's just like, these are just people, I don't know, I hope that line gets erased eventually. I think we're slowly moving towards it, but man, the growing pains are just horrible.
When you are looking at the Ghostbusters stuff now, who's really, you think, going to break out from this?
They're all so good. I mean, Kristen and Melissa are just superstars.
Yeah.
Kristen is so just on her game. She's done a lot of dramas recently and she's so good in those, but man, she's just balls out funny in this. Melissa's always at the top of her game. Kate McKinnon is just killing it.
Yeah.
And then Leslie Jones just destroys. I mean, Leslie Jones is such a good actress. Like, that was the big revelation to me because I know she's so funny and like, I'd give her a direction and suddenly like, oh my God, like she is as good as any actor I've ever worked with. And she's just such a great presence on the screen. So the four of these women together, the chemistry is bananas.
Well, Leslie had time to develop outside of the spotlight, which probably felt rough at the time, but it's kind of a blessing now because she's fully formed before she comes out.
And it feels like such a breakout to everyone else. Like she came like shot out of a cannon.
She just explodes on the world. She's going to explode on the world in this. And I mean, she is shot out of a cannon, but in such a wonderful way. I mean, because she can get away with bigger stuff that I normally like because that's who she is. She's this giant personality.
So that rings as truth to you as the director because she's not making that up. Yeah.
Totally. There's plenty of people just go too big and you're just like, stop, because they're just like, they have no governor or something. But when you go like, that's Leslie. And if there's an honesty and a truth in whatever somebody's doing, I'm like, go with you, or God go with you, or whatever they say. As an atheist, I say that.
God be with you.
There you go. Thank you.
The Peanuts movie comes out this Friday in theaters everywhere. Paul Feig, always great to see you, my friend.
Thank you for letting me drop by.
Anytime. This door is always
open.
My
favorite room in this whole building is right in here.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you.
See you next time.
Thanks. You got it. Thank you.
What I gotta do to get that dick in my mouth?
Oh. She the best.
I love Bridget.
Bridget Everett. What I gotta do to get that dick in my mouth?
No one will tell.
I never knew that women derive such pleasure from that, but perhaps they do.
It is a blast.
Delicious.
You know what I want? A little you time. Just focus on you.
It's right up there with massaging your back. That's how good it feels.
The pleasure I get from that.
Having Paul Feig just drop in like that.
That was so cool.
Well, I feel like we're co-filmmakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, he did most of it, but I was on set and was just... it was very funny even to admit to him when I met it to Jermaine Lucero, like, I want to just be on a giant movie set every day. Just giant sea monsters coming around.
Like those old epics.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how that had been, because that was like all giant sets as well, right? Like they were doing all.
Not only that, but you had to have as many extras as showed up in in like one of those gladiator movies. If you had 5,000 people in the stands, there literally had to be 5,000 people in the stands.
Right. And also, I think what was cool is giant sets and big stuff like that, but then also a lot of miniatures. It's like very extreme.
Yeah, that's true. I always just, anything that I always laugh at, to me, the funniest thing I've ever seen in a movie special effects was the size of King Kong's door. Because out of you know how big King Kong was, and that door just towered above him.
Terrifying.
They did not make a door that would come up to his neck even. It was a door to that, like Trump would have built this wall. It was 8 times bigger than King Kong.
The fact that was someone's job where they're like, I don't know if we're going to get this door finished. There's so much else to do on set, but the door alone.
I can't get the whole door in the shot. I'm starting now to wonder if the door's too big.
Okay, we already took the time to build this door, so please try to work it in somehow.
But what else was going to come through here? By the way, if you want to see the lovely Bridget Everett, she's going to be at the Gramercy Theater, November 12th. Gramercy Theater.
Really?
November 12th, yeah.
Perhaps I do.
Have you been to see her live before?
I have not.
It's a musical and comedy explosion.
Those are 2 things I love. So
yeah. You know what I don't like? Real explosions.
Mm-mm.
Too close. Too close to be forgotten. By the way, we created a little havoc yesterday. A couple people got mad at us, like, for saying smart guns look cool.
Why?
I don't know. Gun people, they get upset
they
if
don't
you bring
want
up
smart guns. Now,
here's the thing. I'm now anti-legal marijuana, mainly because this article that's up, and it's up on the iBank today, if weed passes today, and it looks like it's going to, in Ohio, Nick Lachey is going to become the weed king of Ohio.
What?
He's already locked in to this thing, and he's going to be growing and selling and distributing marijuana.
What's his stake in this race? Like, he's just a...
Bin a man doing bin it. He's got... What's that?
He has more acres than anyone else. His pot farms are going to dwarf everyone else in that state.
But yeah, they saw this coming for a while, him and some of his guys. This was just done from a real business point of view, not so much like why you guys are, talking about bongs that you like. He was putting together this gang of money guys, and he's going to be Mr. Weed.
I think that I have reason to believe that this is going to have a greater effect than any drug PSA ever could. It's just like, look at how uncool weed is now. We want nothing to do with it.
I want Nick Lachey to do his version of that Hello song with Adele while we put in Jessica Simpson pictures.
Oh, God, because that could have been.
Yeah. Their babies would have been beautiful.
The romance between them. The way he talked to her.
And the way she saved her virginity and was pointed out in the marriage.
What first belonged to her father.
Yeah.
Then belonged to him. Her P word.
And who gives this vagina to this man? It is I who give her untouched vagina, except for me and 2 buddies I owed money to this lovely weed farmer.
This humble boy band weed farmer.
All right, I got a big spy report for everybody right now.
Spy report.
Because you're in the other room, you thought you should have done it? A couple of people are like, what's up with Chris today? You're going through a detox day, Chris?
I feel so, because I said I'm not taking any more perks.
And you want to be in that room today, right?
Yeah.
All right, so people's like, is Ron mad at Chris? I'm not mad at Chris at all,
No.
but you were in a state when you got here, and I've been trying to explain detoxing to you. It's not in... It's funny how quick it happens.
Yes.
Right? And it isn't a mental or that's your body demanding, like, where's my perks today? I have perks every day.
And it's not like you realized maybe at first that could have to do. You had to be told, perhaps this is where your head is at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just went cold turkey off the perks.
Never a good idea.
Cold perky.
You know what's really funny about being dope sick is that when you come off painkillers, your body will hurt.
Oh, God, I'm so fucking achy.
What is going on over there?
File opened on my phone by itself.
You acted like you were in church instead of a radio show. You're panicked.
You
with that.
won't be in trouble.
No, there's audio.
Listen,
What was that?
to let you know how much perky is, I've got a major spy report, but we're into perky talk, and this is the exact opposite of producing a show.
No. Let's start over with the spy report.
HBO just announced that they signed an enormous 4-year deal with Mr. Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart has followed John Oliver over to HBO.
What's he doing over there?
I can't tell because I got into perky talk with Perk.
Oh, no.
I don't know what exactly he's going to be doing.
He's going to be making short-form digital content for HBO, and they also get first look at any TV shows or movies he develops in the next 4 years.
So he's kind of on as more like a developer-producer kind of role?
Producer packed, yeah.
But can he stay away from the camera?
I don't know if he can. He'll dance right into the shot. Here I am.
Let me show you how I would do this.
Perfectly. Wow. He definitely will be on camera. There's no way he can't be.
He ought to just move his show over there the way Bill Maher did. And, remember, like, he and Bill Maher were never buddies. There was always, like, a weird competitive, and now they both got HBO deals.
4 years sounds like a big commitment. It sounds like a long time.
Well, it's college.
Sure.
But, I mean, what would you make it, a 2-year commitment? I mean, once you start to develop shows, it takes a while to grind that up.
I guess you're right, yeah.
I'm very, very good friends with the producer, director, writer, Paul Feig.
I noticed that.
So I understand the pressures, the wants and desires of that business.
You get the stress on set. You know what I mean? You understand.
Well, this is his favorite room in the building. Mm-hmm. So, Sway, deal with that.
Sorry, NBC.
Now, where's NBC's room?
Well, they have several floors of it beneath us.
Okay, so you actually...
the whole building.
I didn't even... See, I didn't make that. I was connecting with other radio stations, but you were bringing up the other people here.
Yep.
This is my second favorite room. First being one of those tiny little studios down there. Never got in, but they look so cozy in there.
They are.
First favorite room here, the bathroom.
That's really like 6 rooms in a room with stalls.
You really consider each stall a room?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Maybe it's because I'm a smaller guy.
But, normally, like, even when they say occupied, right? That's something that you would think of as a room.
Yes.
Not so much a small space.
Yes.
But
it's a divider.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a different room.
Some genius came up with, what if I put some boards up around the shit house, giving it a privacy?
Will it be soundproof?
Oh, no. The things that you will hear coming out of there, alarming.
Best part is you can still spy on people through the cracks of the door.
Shoes alone.
Yeah.
Can we take that to the floor? I was at a a restaurant. It's down near the High Line, and you kind of walk into a men and women's lobby or common place in their bathroom, and then you walk off, whether you go right, and there's no doors. It's wide open.
Right.
And you can see the stalls available, and the urinals are around a small thing. And I'm like, why does this feel like madness? Why does the lack of just a tiny like stall door is all that we're really missing? You know what I mean? But this feels like madness. And and then we all wash our hands together. But when people would come into that area, I was seeing them through the windows. They were just like, whether they were men or women, whether they were 15 or 65. An older man would like, did I walk into an inappropriate area? They could not believe that it was just so wide open.
Now, I went to, I was in a bar in Coney Island. And I went into a bathroom with a female friend, and there are 2 toilets and what should be 2 stalls, but the doors are ripped off and the divider doesn't go all the way through. So to explain it, we both are now peeing, but like looking at each other's faces while we're peeing, and we're like, this is so bizarre, this is really weird, and then we realize this is something that men have all the time.
Yeah. Right.
You guys have that experience, but we came out and we were talking to our respective boyfriends like, oh, you guys have that relationship, this is new for us.
Right.
We peed and we looked at each other and continued our conversation.
And first of all, it's considered odd not to have conversations while peeing. When you're mad, you come across as a pee weirdo.
Right.
If you act like this is a private moment.
Yes.
Or a weirdo.
Yeah. Now, I was at a place like this before. So you come in and it's glass, right? And the urinal's connected to a glass thing. It's a mirror on the other side, but you're peeing as you're looking into open place where people are around.
No, thank you.
And there's some people who could not pee under those conditions.
They had to go to stalls.
Personally, I had the best pee of my life.
A very confident pee.
Yeah. This makes me want to pee on stage. But yeah, the thing of bathrooms are, it's kind of antiquated, isn't it? I mean, we haven't really upgraded most. Matter of fact, in this city, there are old school marble urinals that are just crazy. Like you would never build such a thing today. Yeah, and some of them are in real dive bars. And you go in and there's just these beautiful marble urinals that look like they could be in St. Patrick's.
Now, I get confused. Is the urinal the one that's stuck on the wall and it's like a single serving unit, or is the urinal like that trough thing?
Well, we actually call them all urinals. There's less trough work these days than there were before.
Yes.
When I went to elementary school, I went to this little, really elementary school, and for some reason they would say it's time for the boys to go to the bathroom. So we would all have pee time together, and we all just had one trough. So it was every kid in class pissing together.
I think that must be maybe from youth. That's how it was explained to me, because obviously it was not anything I saw. And it was very confusing to me that like everyone was just peeing in one giant trough together. To a young lady, this was very confusing.
I don't remember any of the boys having a problem with it. If someone did, they kept it to themselves. But I do recall a giant conversation, and we would have been 3rd or 4th grade, about one of the kids was uncircumcised. And the whole thing is, what is wrong with your dick?
Freak.
What happened to you?
What is that?
And he said that, if I remember correctly, I was born this way. And we all didn't know that we were all born that way. And we were the sliced up mutants. And he was al natural. But isn't that a weird thing? And there was a lot of distance peeing in those days, because we were all set together the competitiveness from gym class and recess.
So you'd be like standing at the back wall trying to make it in the
There would
trough?
always be a thing how big, or standing at one end of the trough trying to get distance while everybody else watched. Strange.
Yes.
It's a very strange thing.
I feel as a young girl, girls in the bathroom is very similar to the way adult women are in the bathroom. Like they were, still like messing in the mirror and talking about stuff maybe they didn't want boys to hear. There was obviously private time in the stalls. Like it was, I think it's pretty similar to adult women. It's strange that you kind of already developed that thing of like, this is sacred space for ladies.
Well, I don't, like I said, I don't think the bathroom here is that different. I mean, we don't go for distance, but there's a weird camaraderie thing at the bathroom.
Right.
Particularly, working shows where a lot of us will see each other on the second P of the day and then have to, kind of remark.
There's so many times where I'll get here in the morning, and it seems right at 10 a.m., all the stalls in the male bathroom are full of shitters. And I'm thinking, how is everyone shitting at this time? I have to shit. Are we all on the same clock?
Well, you probably all got up the same time.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Drink some coffee.
Yeah, Brandon coffee, Brandon muffin. You're like, I have to shit. Now, can someone get one of these radio legends out of the stall? Now, we should talk to Kashmir about this because, as I sat around talking about how, we were a group of not give a fucks.
Yeah.
To a little gay kid, I'm sure that must have been completely a different experience.
Right. I guess you're right. It probably would have been.
Now, Kashmir, you always said that when you were a little kid, you knew that you were gay, right?
Yes.
Like, what age?
I want to say like 4, and I think I found out while peeing with one of my friends.
So that peeing for you, the group P, must have been a totally different experience.
Yeah, it was because we used to have like a peeing contest to see who could pee like the longest duration, and then I was like, oh, this was so much fun. And in like a few months, everyone got tired. I was like, no, I was like, guys, that game's so great. And I was like, oh, okay, got it.
So this was a much more erotic, confused but erotic experience.
Exciting and scared. Yeah.
Now, was there any time that like peeing or gym class was uncomfortable for you?
Never uncomfortable. I'd say. No, kind of like a fun little treat, I guess.
But you weren't worried about being seen as somebody who enjoyed the gym shower?
Well, my high school, we couldn't afford public gym showers, so we didn't really use it. But my gym shirt also was like a Lady Gaga concert tee, so they knew what they were getting into with a locker near me, I think.
Right. Okay. See, unlike Fezzy, he was always comfortable with his, with his place in the world. It's got to be difficult for people who want to keep that hidden, though.
Yeah, because
it's got to be a tough thing.
And because there was a kid actually in my school who wasn't out until after like they got to college and like dyed their hair and everything, and they would be in the locker room and you just see them kind of like squirming a little bit and walking around like a little too long just in their boxers, just like and like they would whip people with like their shirts kind of like for fun. But none of us were like showering, so that's something you do with like a wet towel.
Right.
So we were kind of just like, what's your game plan, dude?
But you knew that even though he was keeping it to himself,
Oh, yeah.
Here's Ryan in Houston. Ryan.
Hey, guys. So when I was in middle school, we had this weird setup. So there was a hallway with one toilet on one end, the piss trough in the middle, and then another toilet on the other end, and no doors, nothing. So if you had to take a deuce, you had to do it with a guy taking a piss right in front of you.
Yeah. That's not that uncommon. Like at my school, we had doors, but they were normally ripped off.
Yeah.
They were normally torn down through whatever kind of hijinks. And I don't know why people found even any humor of stuffing shit into the toilet and then fucking flushing it. We need to piss here. I get that you hate the fucking school, but we
all use this.
Don't want to, I don't want to walk out in the snow and piss there. Here's Sean in Maryland.
Hey, Ron, I can't believe we're we're going to have this discussion, but you mentioned it right off the beginning was how we need to change stuff. How archaic is it that we pee into a puddle in a toilet that is how far from us when you stand up?
Yeah.
You get splashed, or God forbid, when you do, number 2, and you get a little splash, how disgusting that is. But the other thing that really gets me, I've been wanting to have this discussion with somebody, but just who are you going to talk to about this?
Ghostbusters.
But, yeah, Ghostbusters. Who are you going to talk to? Shitbusters. But yeah, how about the fan in the ceiling that draws your stink right up past your nose? Why don't they put that in the floor?
We have never, seriously, we have never worked this out. And he is right. You're pissing into a puddle. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy.
The vent is what really gets me. I don't know how many times I've been sitting there, enjoying my own quaff and been like, if there was only a vent in the bottom, it would just draw it away from my nose instead of past it.
But just think of how many times the automobile has changed look and functionality over the years.
Yeah.
And Al Capone could walk into a bathroom now and feel like he's in the men's room. It would not be a big deal. But if he saw cars going by, he'd be like, what the fuck happened? How long have I been dead? But the bathroom, I don't know why. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the puddle doesn't make sense for ladies either. Well, I mean, we're close down there to the puddle.
It does make a nice sound, though. I kind of think it's a little therapeutic.
All right, let me just say this.
Like a noise machine.
You're a fucking pea cat, okay? You're a yellow boy, and we got that. You picked up on that when you were a little kid. Yeah. Hey, guys, why? That fucking game is great!
So what would be an alternative to the puddle, then? What else is there?
Well, this is the thing. Why aren't we just hitting some kind of a weird vapor? Why, there's got to be some. Why isn't it being zapped by electricity? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer, but I can say the toilet hasn't changed.
Yes.
Toilet paper really hasn't changed. You make it a little bit softer or whatever, but it's the same thing that they were using 100 and some years ago.
And, it's a terrible waste of water. The flush system is not great. And we're using fresh water to flush.
Yeah, you could literally drink out of a toilet if you needed to. You could drink out of a toilet, which is crazy.
Yes, it's a terrible idea.
And how much flushing takes place for a little bit of pee?
Yes.
How many gallons and gallons of water?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I never flush after I pee. I think about these things.
Well, they say, you're doing it the correct way. If they say, if it's yellow, let it mellow.
Yes, that's you.
Oh,
if
good.
it's brown, flush it down.
Got it. I forget sometimes that, too.
But people will bring that up. If you're in a place where they worry about water, like Key West or any of the islands, they're like, please do not flush. Like, they'll even tell you in a hotel, don't flush if you're just going to piss. I'll be like, I'll
just
fucking piss here in the lobby. I don't care. I'm easy. James, how are you?
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, one clarification. Listening to Kashmir when he said it's the trough. The longest is not time frame. We used to do the Catholic grade school. It was distance.
Yeah, ours was distance too. Not.
That's not my game.
Yeah, he's like
the length of
the
length
of everything.
Yeah, he's the length of time. We were like to stand on one end of the trough and piss down off of it, so that you actually stop trough. And I've only seen it done twice during my years at the school, and it made legendary stuff. Now, as a man, you could do that pretty easily, but when you're a kid, I don't think your bladder is that big.
You can't hold enough liquid in order to pull that off.
Men, when you start drinking and you try to hold that first piss because you're going to piss forever, you could piss. You could piss the first down.
Yes.
Feels amazing.
I've read entire books before.
During a piss?
Yeah.
See, now that I am not a functioning alcoholic like you guys, I don't feel that need to think about first piss or that piss orgasm that you get. That
the
little
chills?
chill, yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah. That's a gay thing, what you're doing, Chris.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
well, still feels good.
Because of what? By the way, I was reading an article today in one of the papers that New York City is one of the most difficult places to quit alcohol because it's an easy place to be a functioning alcoholic. Number one, great mass transportation. You're not going to get in the regular kind of, you wrapped yourself around a pole. And two, so many bars that you could have relationships in if you burn out one. You know, if you grew up in some small town where you're known at the 3 or 4 bars, right?
Or you have a bad experience at the bar. It's just like you just
you get in a fist fight or whatever. You can move on. I talk to people at meetings where they're like, I passed 48 things between the subway and here. I counted them all. Guys that are just trying to quit, you know? Yeah. They're like, how am I supposed to do this? Do you know how many bars there is between the subway and here? 49 fucking bars! I go up past 33, but when I start to get to 34th, like, fuck this. But yeah, it is a place that you can keep bouncing your alcoholism, as Chris has done. But the pills caught up with you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, real quick. Off them. Cold perky.
Sounds like somebody is fucking weaker than his own pills. And that makes your bragging look like shit, by the way.
Sure does.
All these years you bragged. And even with the drinking, he's never as good as his brag. And even his smoking. There's so many complaints that he doesn't inhale.
I inhale double. It's a French inhale.
But you're in and out within a second. This is
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. They're not inhaling the cigarettes long enough.
You smoke like a girl in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell
God,
you.
that used to really bother me when I was a smoker, like watching girls be like, I'll have a cigarette.
Then watch
you
Chris
just wanted to put something up to your mouth.
Yeah, watch Chris.
No.
Because that's him. James, Oregon, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, in grade school, we had the piss wall. You know, basically it's a trough, but, you know, it went from about 6 feet off the ground and it went to the floor, and we would go in, like you said, as a group, and everybody would stand back. And, I mean, if you were stepped up close, you got a chance of getting pissed in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, don't get too close. Well, you know, there's a piss wall at a famous restaurant up here, Chinese place, Dao. I think it's on 58th or 59th. And they have a piss wall and rocks at the bottom of it. And you walk in there and your first time you're like, is this a place to piss or is this decoration? Decoration or piss place?
If it's not clear, one could lean against that wall and not realize what you're doing.
Or pick up a rock. You're just like, what is this?
It's a nice rock.
Warm.
Yeah. Warm but wet and pissy. Jeff in the world famous Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Yo, hey, what's going on, Bennington?
Hey, man.
The reason why I'm calling, somebody said it was weird that we're still pissing or shitting into water. Well,
So?
if you I went to Germany in high school, and I had stage fright. I didn't use the bathroom for a week. We took a trip there. You're shitting on a porcelain ledge, and it's the scariest thing you'll ever do. I couldn't do it.
Explain this, like the ledge, your butt.
We got to be able to find a picture of this.
The bowl looks exactly like our bowls do, but instead of water being like right in the center, it's just it's flat and it's porcelain, and I think I couldn't get my mind around it. I couldn't do. I pissed. There was no shitting for an entire week.
Now, was it painful for you, or did
I was dying? I was dying. I couldn't go. I finally did go, but it was the worst smelling.
And you were crying the whole time you were doing it.
I from restaurant to restaurant, it just kept building and building and building. Yeah. If you can find images of it online.
Yeah, I can't because I got Joey in here and not Chris. I mean, he's really bad at the computer. Really bad.
I'm sorry.
Look what it is. It's Mr. Jeffrey Gurian, the man who likes to jump around. Jeffrey.
Ronnie B, what's up, man?
Hello, Jeffrey.
Hey, how are you, Gail?
Doing well.
Good. You guys having fun talking about men's rooms?
Well, and ladies' rooms. It's, yeah.
Can't leave out the ladies.
Yes. No, that's odd.
That's such a weird segue. You know, I own a chain of men's rooms. You know that, right? All over the country.
Just men's rooms everywhere?
Men's rooms everywhere. Well, you know, because when you're shopping, man, it's so hard to find a men's room. I thought I have an entire mall just men's rooms.
I'd actually go to that place.
Oh, yeah.
There's one store in there, but all men's rooms. Incredible.
Jeffrey, have you been jumping around all week? You got
crazy week in comedy with another one coming up. I mean, this was an unbelievable week because first of all, it started with David Spade, who was in town with Colin Quinn. You know, the 92nd Street Y is doing crazy shit with comedy. They're bringing in all kinds of people. Our friend John Leguizamo is coming up. You know, Joy Behar is going to be there, and Alan Zweibel. But this time it was David Spade talking about his new book called Almost Interesting. David Spade is Almost Interesting. And it was great stories. He and Colin came out, and they were just, you know, they're such old friends. So it was really fun. And Spade told stories that, like, you know, how rough his career was when he first started, and how he got agents and managers when he hardly had any experience. And he got offered a TV show that he would star in, and they made him turn it down. And he's like, that's crazy. It's my dream to have a show. And they made him turn it down, telling him that he'd get a bigger one, which never happened, you know. But
well, Saturday Night Live was pretty big, right?
Pardon me?
Saturday Night Live was pretty big.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
I mean, Spade can never complain about his career. He's had a really solid career. He's gotten to do a lot of stuff.
But it's always interesting when you hear people talk about how they got started, how poor they were. He was borrowing money from everybody to buy old cars, living on people's couches. It just shows that you have to persevere, man. You can never give up.
Yeah, but how old was he when he got on Saturday Night Live?
I don't know. Probably 30s, maybe?
Oh, I thought he was younger than that.
Was young.
And I remember seeing him doing stand-up on TV before that, too. I don't know if it was a special or just one of those 5-6 minute.
Well, he got some heavyweight people behind him, you know, and he wound up with Brillstein. And,
That's who I should be with.
Pardon me?
I should be with Bernie Brillstein.
Especially now that he's passed away many years ago.
So's my career, though.
The perfect time to get hooked up with Bernie Brillstein. And anyway, it was a really fun evening. And then, you know, so he has that book. And then Alan Zweibel has a new book. And it was a really exciting week for me because Alan came over to my house to talk about his new book. We shot a video. And for anybody who's not familiar with the name Alan Zweibel, he was one of the first writers on SNL. And he co-wrote 700 Sundays with Billy Crystal. He co-wrote Martin Short's Broadway show. He's just doing amazing stuff. He's working on a musical. He created It's Gary Shandling Show with Gary Shandling. And he gave me my start in comedy.
How did he give you your start, Jeffrey? What did he do?
Well, I snuck into Saturday Night Live many years ago when the show was kind of new. I pulled up in my Pimpmobile that I've told you about, and I threw the doorman a couple of bucks. In those days, you could pull right up in front of 30 Rock. There was no security. There was no terrorism. Everybody was friendly. Just pulled up in this ridiculous, crazy car, threw the doorman a few bucks, and I told him Lorne Michaels was expecting me. He had no reason to doubt me. I went in, I snuck past the security, got into the elevator, and I got up to the 17th floor, I think it was, and Alan was playing handball against the wall with a guy named Neil Levy, who was Lorne Michaels' cousin, who was one of the producers of the show. And I got him to look at this tape. I was making little bizarre films in the street, and this particular one, he remembers all these years because it's such a bizarre image. It was about several men who were arrested for smearing cream cheese on the ankles of elderly women who wore their stockings rolled down like bagels. You ever see those old women with the stockings around their ankles?
Gail's wearing that right now.
That's my look.
Like fucking bagels to me. Gail would never do that.
You caught me.
Old Jewish women usually do that. And it looked like bagels to me. So I begged my grandmother to be in this film, and she was so kind and so nice. She made believe she had a Jewish accent. And, you know, Jewish people have two kinds of silverware, one for milk and one for meat. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware.
Yeah, okay, cool. So she does this thing where she says, you know, we have two kind of stockings, one for milk and one for meat. And this crazy man smeared cream cheese on my meat stockings, and I can't get it off. And I filmed her with the cream cheese on her ankles, and I brought this up to SNL, and Alan saw it. And rather than throw me out of the building, he called his manager. He was being handled by a guy named David Jonas at the time, who was managing Freddie Prinze, and who actually got Freddie Prinze Chico and the Man. That's Freddie Prinze Sr. And he met with me, and that's how I got started writing jokes for comedians, and it was all thanks to Alan Zweibel. So he came over to talk about his new book. He's got this new book that he wrote with Adam Mansbach. You know that book, Go the Fuck to Sleep?
Oh yeah. I heard about that. Is there like a mean little book for children that you're
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
bedtime story for children?
Bedtime story for adults, actually, about how hard it is to get your kids to go to sleep. And it was like a New York Times bestseller. So...
Do they have a worst seller list? That's the one I'd like to get on. No one has bought this book.
Not a single copy.
I'm afraid that's where my next book's going to wind up. I got
no, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
By the way, this is interesting. Liz Satsfire wrote this to us. I can pee anytime, anywhere. I think it's from years of drinking and squatting in the woods.
Yes.
That's very, it should be very...
I'm surprisingly not shy about it as well.
I'm not surprised that you think that anybody would be surprised.
I could be right here,
Yeah.
right now, and have no shame.
How did you even get into talking about men's rooms?
Well,
Who brought that up?
2 people came in here and peed on us today, so
Then we said,
we got into it.
have you heard of a bathroom they hadn't?
Jeffrey, are you a pee shy guy?
Pee shy?
Yeah.
I'm just a shy guy in general. I turn around before I get undressed when I'm home alone.
Now, do you are you a guy? If there's a stall available or a urinal available, which would you use?
If there was a stall available or
Yeah.
what?
Or a urinal?
Oh, always the stall.
Always the stall.
Always the stall.
Yeah.
So you'll pee in the stall,
Yeah,
even
I'll
if
pee
there's...
in the stall. Yeah, for sure. I hate that. We're like standing next to people. Where if the guy he could pee on your shoe and stuff, you know?
Right.
If he got, he got cut on a slant.
See, a lot of times, like if you walk into a bathroom with another guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to use the urinal, and he goes in to use the stall, and there's other urinals, you're like, well, what is he? Too good for me? You think he's too good for me?
I have used the urinals next to other people when it's, in a dire circumstance.
Is it going to be, I bet, a famous person?
But it's not fun. Like, don't you dry yourself off afterwards with paper and stuff?
Dry my penis off with paper? No.
Yeah, don't
no,
you
I
do that?
not.
You don't do that.
No, I give it a quick shake.
I'm neat. But
yeah.
If you want to save water, don't wash your hands.
I don't want any paper in my dick hole. That's my thing.
My dick's the cleanest part of my body. I never have to wash my hands when I leave. For most guys, it's the cleanest part. It never gets any air. It's in there all day. What are you washing your hands for, If you go to the bathroom properly, theoretically, your hands should be clean.
Theoretically. This is where we are now. Hey, I know you got a big gig tonight, Jeffrey. Where are you going to be?
Well, no, my big gig is coming up on the 12th. I'm headlining Broadway Comedy Club for the first time, which is really cool. November 12th. That's going to be a 10 p.m. show. And if anybody wants tickets, they can call this number, 347-602-0002. It's going to be a fun show. It's my first time headlining, so I'm really excited about it.
Is that your home number?
Yeah. Call at home.
But tonight, this week is a big week leading into the New York Comedy Festival. Tonight I'm going to see Cypher Sounds, who's having a big release comedy show in honor of his new comedy series on Jay-Z's Tidal.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this new series called No Small Talk. Tomorrow night is big, man. Amy Schumer is producing Rachel Feinstein's new special, and they're taping at John Jay College. So I'm going to be there. I'll be backstage afterwards getting pictures of everything for the Interrobang. And Thursday, I'm shooting a reality show. I just got asked to be in a feature film. I'm doing that on Sunday. So a lot of cool stuff. And then next week, Caroline starts the New York Comedy Festival, which is always huge. That's going to be amazing. It's going to be a whole week of major events. So I'll be hopefully calling in. I'll let you guys know what's going on.
That'd be great. That Cypher show that you're talking about, that's available for free today on Tidal.com. Casey Balsam, who was just in here the other day, was on it. Louis Katz is on it. Aaron Berg is on it.
Yeah, he did like 5 shows, Ron. Did, it's going to be a series, and it's going to be at the Village Underground tonight.
Now,
tonight at 9:30.
These are stand-up shows, or what are they?
Well, it's a comedy show in celebration of the release of this series.
I'm trying to figure out what the series is, though.
The series is No Small Talk. It's comics performing. I was there for a couple of the shows, but I mean, it's a regular stand-up show.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the host, and he's great. Syph is really funny. And it's so funny because he was a radio guy, and for a long time he never considered himself a stand-up comic. He used to say to me, man, I do this, but I don't consider myself that. Now he does. He's really funny. He's a great host, and he's got this cool series, man. Jay-Z, he was the first comic that Jay-Z signed.
That's great.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. And you got your Thanksgiving thing coming up.
Right. I don't need to plug that though because it's massively. Chris, as a matter of fact, you got to go through that soon.
Yeah. I changed my name in time for that. It's Jeffrey Gail Bennington.
Oh, that's nice.
Perfect.
Because
You're
I
in
want
the
to be part of that family, so I
Sure.
can come. You know.
Well, it's just like the Ramones. You know?
Exactly.
Works that way.
Exactly. Like Joey and I forgot all the other guys.
Dee
Dee, yeah, right.
Johnny, Marky.
Johnny. That's right.
We're missing one, right?
Tommy.
The updated
And we're
version
missing
of
the last
Ramones.
CJ Ramone or something.
Yep.
The very last Ramone.
CJ, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm JL Bennington from now on, man. That's it.
All right. Good to talk to you, Jeffrey.
You too, man. See you guys soon.
Bye, Jeffrey.
Peace.
Bye.
Ro from Long Island says Gurion is the king of name droppers. I don't think it's name droppers when you actually do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't think me saying, oh, Paul Feig is here, you know?
Name dropping.
Yeah, I mean, that's not name. I think name droppers when you don't really have those connections.
Right. Maybe you just see them in passing, but everyone knows Jeffrey. Everybody knows that
It's
guy.
ridiculous how
Yeah.
many people know him.
And they're like excited to see him, like pick him out. So.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
To be anywhere in public with him and
It's
see
very
that?
strange, yeah.
Today I was going past the Trump building, and I'm going to name drop again. I went past the Trump building, and there was a thing for his new book. And there was a line of people. And he's running for president, but he's selling a book at the same time. It seems so crazy to me.
He was just selling it out of the Trump?
Yeah, I think that there was some kind of, PR party there.
Yeah.
But the people that were lined up were not the people that you would think would be Trump supporters. I mean, they were kind of borderline, you know what I mean? They looked like they would be at a metal show or something.
Yeah.
Or soup kitchen, but they love him. Now, I am alarmed that Ben Carson is doing so good. Like, I get the Trump thing 100%. I got it from first day. I can't imagine how anyone could say I could vote for Ben Carson.
It's bizarre.
Now, he had another article out. This is about him saying he's a creationist. Joey, I think this was your story. What exactly is going on with Big Bad Ben Carson?
Ben Carson said that he can't really believe in evolution because people who don't have faith can't really tell him where everything came from. And that he's a doctor, but he can still believe in creationism and all that, even though he doesn't really believe in evolution. Yeah.
Is there anything more terrifying than thinking of a doctor who doesn't believe in science?
Right.
That's really scary. But listen, your neighbor, fine. You know what I mean? Like, you believe what you like. It's crazy. You know, we're going to disagree. But your doctor, the man who is going to perform surgery on your body, is like, I'm not a big science guy.
All these numbers. It's always words with you.
I don't believe there's something called cells. Don't think that could ever be true. Don't trust the microscope.
Like life could come from that.
I would love to hear from a creationist because I don't have problem with the intelligent, when people go, I believe that there has to be intelligent design. There has to be something that, brought up the beginning of the universe.
Yes.
That's not as offensive of people who just go, oh, well, I believe an old man created Adam and Steve and that they started everything. That's when you get ridiculous.
Yes.
But you have to agree in the science that we've found to be true.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And there are certainly scientists who are spiritually minded who say, I kind of incorporate my ideas of faith, but I also use science. I also believe in these theories and whatever. I think it's pretty concerning to think. You want your doctor to have a scientific mind. You want your doctor to think of things that way.
But I could see if a person goes, look, I'm a scientist, and believe me when I tell you, something intelligent had to have start at the Big Bang. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you could start from that point. What you can't say is there is no Big Bang because it didn't happen in the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, that's when people get dopey. You know?
Right.
Like, you're not paying attention to facts now. So to act like we're, afraid of evolution or there couldn't be evolution, and then to go, but we're showing you evolution in plants and animals and all that. And then even to go, well, then why would man be able? We're smart. We're not going to be part of evolution. No, we're still something alive on the planet.
Yes.
You don't have to be alarmed that you came from crazy pygmy-looking cave people.
And it's strange that there's a lot of things I believe that, Christians hold to be true that are not explicitly written in the Bible. So why is that something that they obsess on? Like,
right.
There are a lot of modern things that we have to come up with our own set of rules, and they take part in that and they modify it the way they see fit. But why is this one thing that they're like, this is not literally stated this way? And so I have to completely throw out the idea of logic for this.
Well, but see, the thing is, too, a lot of faith starts at places that we can't explain. So as we've been able to explain more, we've gotten away from that mythology. Like, there were people at one time believed that the world was on the back of a giant turtle that was walking through whatever, space or something, right? Now, the second that you can find out that that isn't true, that we're not on the back. Like, I can imagine being, at a place where, I don't know, I guess, giant turtle, my mom told me when I was little.
Sure.
It feels like a giant turtle in a way.
We're kind of like little bugs in our own way.
Right.
Sure.
But until, you figure out that you're not, then you move on and your religion has to adapt a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the people who refuse to adapt that's weird. Here's Christopher in Atlanta. Christopher.
So there are a couple things that creation solves for me that science doesn't. The first is that science tells us that matter can neither be created nor destroyed.
Right.
But physics tells us that, or the Big Bang individuals tell us that, there was this Big Bang that occurred, and by the way, the universe is still expanding. So if matter can neither be created nor destroyed, but the universe is still expanding, how do you manage that?
Well, it's not expanding in size, it's expanding out away from that original spot, and then it's going to come back to that original spot. But, I also heard this theory on the Big Bang. It wasn't so much an explosion like we think of explosion, but it's like things changed size. So imagine everything got very small or very large, just within a millisecond.
Sure. Well, there is one other aspect as well, and that is that science tells us that the natural nature of things is chaos. But there seems to be an order and a structure that's set up to our ecosystem. So if we were to take a deck of cards and to throw it 1 trillion times, it would never fall into place into a perfect house of cards. Because chaos is a natural state. So, the fact that there seems to be some sort of order, the fact that there are phytoplankton that get eaten by larger, the fact that photosynthesis creates things for phytoplankton to eat, and that trickles down to things that we eat, whether we're vegetarians or whether we're meat eaters or carnivores. There's too much order.
There's no doubt that there's
natural state's randomness.
There's no doubt that there's natural laws to things. Look, there's a thing up on the iBank today with ants that is so fucking mind-blowing. The way that they can make themselves act like a solid or liquid at any given time, the way they move as one. It's beyond anything that we can understand right now.
Or that doesn't need to be taught or explained as well. Like behavioral stuff is in. Oh, that's bizarre looking,
isn't it? It's unbelievable what you can see ants do, and look at that. How they know immediately how to react like a raft, or in this case, they react in the way that water does. They kind of displace themselves and move around this. There's a weird intelligence to ants that we can understand. But see, here's the thing, Christopher, is every time that we get to understand something, it seems less magical to us, right? So right now, the Big Bang feels magical to you, like something magical had to happen. But that's how people felt about comets at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as soon as you get to understand something, you're like, oh, of course. Yes. But, you know, and it wasn't even all that long ago, we didn't understand weather patterns at all. But now there's a kid up there in Nova Scotia who reminds us to get Chinese food.
Yeah, get
to
your
get
pizzas.
pizza. I saw a thing with him the other day that he was bragging about how many people want his autograph, and they want my autograph because I do such a good job on doing the weather and I'm like, your ego's getting a little carried away. Right
He
now.
is a little egotistical, though.
Yeah.
It's funny. It was
He's
the last
self-centered.
yeah.
But that's because enough people told me he's doing a really good job.
Yeah. They're not wrong.
Here's Paula in Denver. Hey, Paula.
Hey, how you doing?
Let me
Can
say
you
it this way.
turn my
to you.
radio down?
Yeah, turn it down while I say this. Hey, Paula, I want to marry you. I always thought that was like one of the greatest openings to any song of all time.
Paula?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're not familiar with this song?
No.
How could you not be? You're from that era.
You know, I think, please, I really appreciate it, but don't take this disrespectfully, but anyone who has a song with their name in it, they know it. They've heard it.
Yeah, they've heard it before. Why would you play it now instead of set it up so we can play it when we have time? Yeah. All right, Paula, what did you want to add to us?
Well, I just wanted to add to the fact that you guys sounded incredulous that a physician would not believe in evolution as opposed to creationism. I'm a nurse practitioner, so basically I have my PhD in nursing. I've been in the field of medical science for 25 years now, and quite frankly, most professionals that I work with do believe in creationism as opposed to evolution because there's just no possible way to explain evolutionism into the function of the human form because it doesn't match. It just doesn't work, number one. Number two, there is something magical about it. There's just absolutely no way that everything functions as it does without there being something that caused it. And the Big Bang Theory, whatever you want to call it, it's not evolution. That's for sure.
Well,
there's absolutely no relevance with evolution and the idea that we evolved from apes. That
well, first of all, so
relied on.
You do believe in cavemen, right?
Yeah, I believe in cavemen.
And
Absolutely.
you know that we kind of look differently even from them, right?
Yeah, but cavemen were not apes, and that's what evolution is all about.
But no, it isn't about apes at all. Each thing evolves in different ways, but you can actually take it back that at one time there was. You believe the fact that at one point there was only like some simple molecules on the planet, right? Or one cell creatures.
I do believe that at one time there was only that.
Yeah.
And that ever.
All right, so how did we go from this watery planet with just one cell creatures to where me and you are talking on the phone? How did that happen?
I see what you're saying. But
Right.
what I'm trying to get across to you is something that started the process. That's creationism.
Hold on.
That's not necessarily Christianity or Buddhism.
I get you completely, but we know that we were this swampy, soupy place, right? And how did it get to me and Paula talking on a phone? How do we become these two beings?
Because
darling, this is...
were amoebas, and then other things have been created throughout time that were more complex.
Who was creating them?
As an artist, if you will, as an artist, starts out with finger painting and then becomes something amazing.
Right, but I'm...
As an artist.
But
that doesn't mean that finger painting is the same creation as, something that is created by a Picasso.
All right. I get you completely. So let's say this. So we're this amoeba-type planet, just hot and soupy, right? And then God added a ladybug, and then he added a worm. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, yeah. Absolutely. But it definitely wasn't an amoeba became a ladybug and then became a cockroach and then became...
That never happened. So one of it... Yeah,
and then became a squirrel or a cat or whatever. That's absolutely ludicrous to believe that.
Okay.
And if you work in the medical field and you understand the workings of the human body, there's just...
Well, we're not even talking about humans. Let's not even take it to humans because I don't want to offend your sensibility that there's something connected to the creator. But I just want to make sure that we understand for every one of these little species, big and small, God went and added them one at a time. He added an Adam and Eve elephant at one time. He added all the species of spiders. He added an Adam and Eve of those all one at a time, right?
So I'm not going to even fall into this Adam and Eve conversation because...
for
when
each...
it comes to Christianity...
No, Paula. It's really important that you don't...
Let me answer, please.
Yeah.
Let me answer.
Yeah.
When it comes to Christianity and the Bible, everyone can agree that some of it has to be a nice little guidebook of stories that tell you...
Paula, we're not talking about that at all.
To do and not to do.
Look,
and do I believe that God created things one at a time in a systematic order?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I don't think that it was, today I'm going to create this ladybug and tomorrow I'm going to create this tree. I think that it was an artistic thing.
But why did he...
Artistic. There's no systematic...
But you're saying that did they evolve or was each species one and onto itself? Or did anything ever evolve?
I don't think it meant to creatures. I think that was a system of necessary survival.
So that was evolution. What you're talking about, everything evolved except for human beings, right?
No.
Well, what
human beings, evolution, speak of evolution, you're speaking of something that from a cellular level has changed, and that's not so. That's just like, if you put somebody in a cage and you don't let them walk, their body is going to change and adapt, yes, but their cellular function remains the same. Their skeletal beingness and physical being is still the same.
So it's just that cells can evolve.
We did have to adapt. Evolution is not adaptation.
I hear another nurse wants to talk to you, okay? Is that all right, Paula?
Who wants to talk to me?
Another nurse. They're saying as a nurse they can speak in your language. All right, here's Gordon. Gordon,
hey,
you're on with
how
Paula.
are you guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Paula, you ignorant slut.
Oh, don't do that.
No, I'm sorry. It was an SNL reference.
Gordon,
No,
I feel so
I take
sorry
it back.
for you, and we're done.
No, listen. No, you are completely ignorant on the evolution. Evolution is adaptation. So evolution happens over millennia. It's not an instant thing, and people forget that it's incremental changes in mutations in DNA over generations upon generations, and the mutations that allow the individual to be successful and breed and reproduce are the ones that are passed on, and those are that is evolution.
She hung up. She got you lost her because of the ignorant slut. I know that you were joking.
I went for the Chevy thing.
Yeah,
what can I say?
But you hurt her feelings, and she was a nice lady who had a,
Sure.
She just really wanted to be part of a conversation. Here's Steve in California.
Hey guys, there's actually more evidence for evolution than there is for universal gravity, because there are actually scientific peer-reviewed papers that are opposed to the latter, but there's not a single peer-reviewed scientific paper that opposes evolution. Just food for thought.
All right, thank you. Most of this stuff is above all of our pay grades, but there's also this real hate and for science that's really, really funny.
It's strange, right? I mean, it's
almost like we're afraid of anything that we don't understand or can't be explained to us really quickly.
Yeah, we falsely pretend like that education is important to us, to children. We drive that home to children, and yet with adults, they really struggle with being educated on something.
Well, I want children to be educated, and myself, if anyone makes me feel dumb, I just get mad. But I watch, I'll watch and read stuff all the time, and I'll go like this: I am so stupid. And it's too late for me to catch up on this. Just could not put in the time now. Here is Scott in Oklahoma. Scott.
Yeah. I think that the people that grasp on the fact that there was a Big Bang Theory, they grasp that, so then there is some kind of control, that there isn't a higher being, a higher power, to the same level that people who believe in religion like myself believe that God created. But they're also in teaching and findings and through our church that, yes, there is adaptation and evolution throughout growing. But in the beginning, God created earth, God created man. And it's the same, I guess, belief or thought system as the Big Bang, because there is no proof of either.
Well, here's
from a molecular structure is very hard to believe, just the same as some guy in the sky made it.
First of all, I believe with you. I agree with you that it's all mind-blowing. But here's something I want to bring up to you. So you have no problem with the Big Bang Theory, and you have no problem with how the Earth was hot and it began to cool and all that kind of stuff, right?
No, I guess not. I mean, I'm not super informed on either. I'm just a pretty simple man.
But here's the thing. If God was so interested in humans, why did it take so long for us to get here? You know what I mean?
Right.
The amount of time that we know that things existed, we were barely here for it. I mean, I don't know how we got around to feeling so special, but I saw somebody last night on a show saying that the brain is the most interesting thing, and the human brain is the most interesting thing of all creation, and that they had problem thinking that the whole reason that there is something was to create the human brain.
Yeah, the ego of that. I mean, that's just as strange as believing that you yourself as an individual is as important. To think of the species that way.
In my case, more important. I honestly think I am more important than anything that's ever existed in any part of the universe.
Human or non.
And funnier than most. Although I have bumped up against some others that have amazed me. Here's David in Tennessee.
Hey, Benningtons.
Hey.
There being a creator that created all, or we just crawled out of the sea one day, both are equally kooky to me. But at least there's some type of scientific fact to one. So I kind of lean that way. But just the thought that at one time there was nothing on land, it was all in the sea, it just seems kooky to me.
There's a lot of kooky things.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you get for me, honestly, to see that fucking planets exist with no species on it is always crazy.
I mean,
you're like, what a waste of space there.
Yeah, but
I don't understand why God would create. This is what gets me, and I always get with my mom. Why would He create a universe so large just so one little tiny planet could have life? If He's the creator, he should be able to do it. Just create the planet.
Maybe he's new at this.
Damn thing.
Maybe he's new at this. But it is a really fucking stunning thought that as far as we can see, and, now with telescopes and radio, we can see pretty fucking far. And we can't find anything, not only that looks and sounds like us, but that would look like or sound like anything.
Yes.
It just looks dead as far as we can tell.
So with all this space, at the very least, he's just bad with spatial planning.
You've got so much to work with here. Yeah, you can't even get around. You cannot even get around. There's so much space. Walter.
Oh, hello. Just first time I dialed into your show, and I really enjoy the way you handle people who have a bent different than yours. So just two quick comments. One is, I mean, the whole, when you talk about space, you talk about the human life form or any life form, it's almost beyond really comprehension, I think. And I just find it amazing. And the latest thing that's really kind of rocked my world a little bit is I've been reading more and more about that 1 to 2% of the human DNA is actually tied into Neanderthal. That is really crazy to me, and if you want to comment on it, that'd be great. And then the other thing I want to comment on was, like, when I just have found through life somebody like Gordon, when he had to come in and he start off his conversation, you ignorant slut. I mean, I just have to say that people who have, are of a, I'll just label broad brush liberal bent, are really very intolerant, and they have to go back to that name calling, because I just think that was completely uncalled for. And you were having a great conversation with Paula, and just a respectful conversation. I just don't know why people have to do stuff like that.
I think he was attempting to make a joke and steal a 39-year-old joke. I don't think he meant it that way. But I wish Paula would have hung around because I really dug her. You know what I mean? Like, you can.
Oh, it's a great conversation you're having. Yeah.
Well, the thing is if you could take even the smartest people when it comes to this, there's still so many mysteries. There's still so much that we don't understand. But it's kind of mind-blowing.
I mean, to say that, you find the idea of evolution to be just like, oh, that's weird, that's kooky, that's hard for me to believe. You can say the same just about procreation. Like, why, it's all overwhelming. But if you literally take one that I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page, that we figured this one out and we know how it works, that's insane. That's just as insane. So I think it's funny to just say this particular aspect is kooky because it's all pretty fucking kooky.
Yeah, it's all nuts. The fact that there's something rather than nothing will keep you awake at night. You would think the natural thing there would not be one thing anywhere.
If I was in charge of things.
Not a speck of sand. Just nice, clean darkness. This is Dr. B.
Hey, how you doing, Bennington?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, I picked you guys up about, I'm a driver, and I picked you guys up about 4 months ago, and this is the fucking funniest show on, so I love you guys.
It's always amazing me that people still are discovering a show that's been around. Yeah, for almost
you guys
5
are
months
awesome. Hey, I was a minister for 15 years, and now I am an atheist. And we could get into a whole thing of why that happened. But my opinion, first of all, I respect Christians. I understand everybody has a right to their religious beliefs. But one of the best things that I've heard when it comes to this subject is just because the world and just because human beings are intricately designed does not mean that you've proven there's a maker. You've only proven that it's intricately designed. And there's several hundred different theories on how that came about, and we don't really know. So for anybody to speak in terms of, everything being exactly this is the way it is, there's no way to prove that. So we have to be open to all the possibilities, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, you will die and it will be a mystery. And even if you were a believer, right?
Yeah.
You would have to be sucked into such a higher state of intelligence to be able to get it. Because if you go to heaven thinking like you think now, you're going to be a dope and say, can I go see Jimi Hendrix play? And can I eat all the ice cream I want? You know,
Streets of Gold, is that a real thing?
It would be a place for dumb people.
Yeah, running around and never getting tired. Oh boy, how about that?
Yeah, that sounds kind of exciting, I guess. I don't know. Hey Scott, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, buddy? I think Gordon's call, while it seemed like a joke, proves that people like Paula can't really be taken seriously, and here's why. It's because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's really hard to explain with the theory of evolution and all that stuff, but it's only because the creationist theory is so ridiculous compared to the evolutionist theory that it speaks volumes. And my call is really about what Paula did. She hung up. And I think it's because all the creationist Christians, people that have hold really deep religious beliefs, it's because it's what they've known, what their parents have known, what their grandparents have known for their entire life. And to question it and to accept the fact that it's completely wrong, it makes them feel really uncomfortable to the point where they're defensive, telling other people how to live. And it's people like Paula that 50 to 100 years ago would beat the shit out of people like Kashmir because it's what they've known and what they've been told.
Well, let him try, because Kashmir can
he can handle himself.
Yeah. I might be entering him in some Golden Gloves. Well, let's say this is always a problem for us, and I think we could stop it by acting like religion is on the other side of science. They're just two different things. It shouldn't be a matter of science and religion. It probably should be religion and philosophy. You know what I mean? But certainly, in the case of science, if you don't use a scientist, I don't see how a religious person would help you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And if you step back, everyone, people who say that religious people cannot hear an opposite opinion, you could say the same about some very strong believing atheists.
Absolutely.
And then they become a religion unto themselves, where even if you talk to somebody who is maybe more identifies as an agnostic, they'll attack that person just as hard as they would attack somebody who said, I believe that, Noah's Ark and a bunch of animals,
we all have problems with agnostic. They want their cake and eat it too.
I just love my cake so much, but it's so delicious.
Do what I do. Get 2 pieces of cake. And then eat that piece of cake, but keep the other one for later. But before I eat it, I get yet another piece of cake, which will then become... Now, my problem is this. No, it isn't perfect, because the second piece normally becomes fresher. And I'm like, we should have that fresh
Swap
cake.
it out.
But the other thing is this. I've got that hard cake now. Sometimes I'll carry it around for months at a time.
It's just so beautiful, though.
It is.
That was also a thing that was very confusing to me, because I thought have was to eat, so I just thought it was redundant. I am having it by eating it, both.
Here is Rob in Miami. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Ron. How you doing? Enjoy the show a lot.
Good.
So, I'm just going to make one quick point. I think the conversation with Paula was great. I think the guy Gordon was an asshole, but I understand he was trying to be a wise guy.
Right.
So I am a believer. The Bible is a little bit of a story as far as the Old Testament. But I have really one question.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about evolution. Everybody's on, and I can appreciate evolution. I'm not an ignorant person. You can't deny evolution. But why was man the only being, the only species that has evolved to this level? Why has not any other species evolved to where you and I are sitting, like, as you said earlier, having this conversation on a phone? Why are we the only ones that have gone this far, or even 1/1000th of a percentage as far as man has gone?
All right, but see, you say that, Rob, but you and I can't fly. So that, you know what I mean? We can look at bugs and birds. You look at those things of what ants can pull off and how they can survive way more, just horrific things that could you imagine putting up with a rainstorm when you're an ant? What that's like, you know?
That's a great point. But listen, if you wanna, compare and analogize evolution, then those ants in the millions and millions of years would have learned how to make a boat or some kind of shelter other than just burying down into the earth.
We're acting like, is it the only, maybe evolution itself doesn't set up for two intelligent creatures in the way that we're intelligent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Somebody told me that they thought that the only reason that we do the things that we do is that we can spread around other things that we deem as disease or germs, and that really they're running the fucking show, and we're just something that they eat and devour and stuff.
I think that's a big disconnect, is that people believing that intelligence is the end game of all evolution. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And just pigeonholing our evolution versus any other species evolution. But absolutely, I see that point.
If it's talking animals, let me take you to the cartoons, which they. I mean, when you really think it, that's the thing about us that is so like ego driven, that we think the whole point is to make animals act like us in cartoons. A yoki. We're like, oh fuck, look how smart that thing is.
Yes, it's the only way we can actually feel like we can sympathize with animals. Like, we eat them and we murder them, but the second we have to think of them having a personality, thoughts, or feelings, we're like, oh god, they're like us.
I'll tell you how they evolved into deliciousness. Mm-hmm. Mike in Columbus.
Hey, how's it going, Bennington?
Yeah.
Hey, I think all you have to do to prove evolution is to take a look at medication-resistant bacteria. Like, that's why our antibiotics aren't working anymore, because bacteria has evolved. It's mutated, it's changed, it's adapted, and so now our stuff ain't working anymore, and that's evolution to me.
It's really... I don't know whether that would be evolution, because really I have about a 9th grade science education. Is probably the last time I paid attention at all. I'm going to switch that to 7th grade, just to be totally honest. But it is mind-blowing how stuff like DDT stops working, and that the animals that they find a way to beat this thing.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. I'm starting to get itchy thinking about the amount of bugs that... Here's the thing that grossed me out, too. I just read this, that if you weighed all the humans on the planet against all the bugs, they would weigh like 10 times or 100 times more than us. That's how much fucking bugs are on this planet.
I can't relax knowing that.
Joey put up a fucking thing about a bug saying don't look at it. It's on the iBang. And I took his advice and didn't.
I didn't look at it.
Looking at it.
Yeah,
I saw that and I didn't look.
It's disgusting. It will ruin your day.
My day's already ruined that I know that it exists somewhere.
All I know is a bug does something bad and I'm unhappy about it.
It is so gross, isn't it? So gross how many things are on the planet. That's why, if I could tell God one thing, I was like, why'd you make this place so dirty and gross?
So buggy.
Have you been to a Subway? The restaurant, I mean.
Oh, delicious. Robert, Utah.
Hey, first thing is I was going to bring up the koala bear, but I want to explain to you that the Bible, in the first 5 verses of the Bible, it explains how God created the earth. Long before he created anything.
All right, God, tell us.
The earth was void. He moved across the water.
What water?
The waters of the earth. He created the land.
Right,
then it speaks about he created night and day. That was the first day he's talking about.
All right, but I want to explain.
The earth long before he created man, or all the animals.
Right, but I want to explain to you, there was a lot of stuff before there was an earth or a light and day, before there was a sun.
To you, if you understood and read the Bible,
right,
like you're supposed to, it explains how Satan, when he was thrown out of heaven, he came to the earth and destroyed the earth. He destroyed everything on the earth.
Who did?
Satan.
Satan did?
So,
yeah.
What did he destroy then? What was there?
He killed everything on the earth.
What was on the earth? When did this happen?
There was animals, there was dinosaurs, there was everything that existed on the earth. He was upset about it because God threw him out of heaven and favored man. He favored the earth. He was jealous.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no man when there was dinosaurs, right?
No, there was no man ever on the earth. And all these stories that you hear about Neanderthals and all that, you just haven't done any studying. Mm-hmm. You've heard it out of your textbooks and that. And even Darwin, they did a study on the eyeball, the human eye. Mm-hmm. Not just the human eye, every animal's eye. And every animal's eye is the same size at birth that it is. It never grows. Every animal.
It's adorable.
And the size of the eyelashes have to be exactly 1/3 for the eye to work optimal for the width. But science can't even explain the eye, especially the retina.
No,
what I'm saying is, even Darwin, if you read Darwin and seen his studies, there's been many scientists that agree that all science does is proves more that God exists. But you're talking like, you believe evolution. It's all about what you've been taught and how long you've been on this earth and what you've studied. But if you do take time and study the Word of God and study science, they go hand in hand.
So God,
but no scientist, even Darwin himself, said that there's a problem because of the eyeball.
Well,
your ears and your nose grow throughout.
Look, here's the thing that people have to understand. Science can only describe or explain what they can explain at that time. No one has ever said science explains every single thing, including why we're here. They don't know when we got here, what time it is. This thing has always been and will always be a mystery.
Yes, and a work in progress. I think
it's a work in progress. But the word of the Bible is done, right? That's already finished.
That evolution is the only thing you're supposed to know.
Well, that's not exactly true. But
that's exactly true.
Well,
have you read the textbooks that they sent the kids bring home from school?
Yeah, they never say that we're done with anything. But see, here's the thing: the Bible is finished, right, Robert? We're never going to add any more books to the Bible.
No,
it's over. So that's it. Yeah, that's the end of the story there. So
that's it.
Yeah.
If you understood the whole Bible, you would understand.
No,
we are right there, and every man, every person who's ever lived on this earth will see God.
Yeah.
You will see him. You will be judged. There's no question. And it won't be like you're dead and then thousands and thousands of years from now you're going to meet him. It's like when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning.
Right.
Like no time has passed. Like when you went to bed and you woke up, it felt like 2 seconds had gone by. Same thing. When you die,
right,
immediately you will see God. Every single person on this earth will see God. They'll know the truth. And that day is coming soon. It's not millennium from now.
No, do you mean end times or any of our deaths?
No, if you read Bible prophecy and you understood the book of Revelation, you would know that we are close. It is close. There's no one can give you a date.
Right. But you do know that it's
God
close.
says to watch.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ said to watch for the signs, and he explains in Revelation. And if you understood the Word of God and you studied the Bible, you could easily understand what Revelation says. You could easily see the times that are coming.
And yet you don't know it exactly, even though you say it's easy. Yeah.
No, you're not meant to know exactly.
Yeah.
And Revelations was also added much later.
The reason
to the Bible,
to know exactly. So you just can't all of a sudden say, oh, okay, now I believe in God.
Right.
You're supposed to study His Word. You're supposed to learn who God is.
He doesn't want it to be easy.
But, I mean, He's not going to make you burn in hell forever. That's a total. Heaven is a myth. So is hell.
So
think about it this way, Ron.
Okay.
You're put on earth, and when you drink a gallon of milk or drink milk, you enjoy it, right?
I love it.
You can't be a spiritual being and enjoy milk.
Right. You are correct.
It would be unnatural for you to be living in heaven, dancing on clouds, and the kingdom of God. It's a government, and God will be the king of the world. It's a government here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is no hell. Hell is just another word for the grave, death.
Yeah.
So if you're judged to be wicked, you'll just be removed.
But,
I mean, if you study the Bible and you know the Word of God and you study it well, then you'll understand exactly the purposes. But no evolution theory can explain. There's a termite, and it's 4 different organisms live in this tree. Okay, there's 4 different organisms to make up this termite. Now, those 4 organisms, without one of them, the termite wouldn't exist. The koala bear eats only eucalyptus leaves, and eucalyptus leaves are poison. If you ate one, you would die. You'd be extremely sick. If you ate enough of them, you'd definitely die. But even science can't explain the koala bear. The digestive.
Even the Bible can't explain the koala bear, which is weird. Hey, hey, Robert.
The reading the Bible and studying the Bible.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand why God created a koala bear. He created the koala bear for you to enjoy.
Like looking at it and checking it out.
To prove that God
for your
don't
pleasure.
exist.
Hey, a couple people want to talk to you. Would you like to talk to anybody, Robert?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Jason in North Carolina, you're on with Robert in Utah.
Well, he proves my point exactly. It's about confirmational bias. He is starting with the conclusion that God exists, so therefore he looks for the evidence that supports that criteria. God has to exist, and so just like he quote mines Darwin, saying that Darwin said that the eye is too complex, we can't explain it. Well, he needs to read the next couple paragraphs in The Origin of Species, where Darwin exactly shows how the eye evolved. Darwin has no problem with evolution, and science can explain the koala bear and all that stuff. He's just wrong about it.
What do you say to that?
So science has explained the koala bear and how it evolved.
Yeah, exactly. They have. It's adaptation to your environment. They grew up in an
they had to
environment.
adapt to their environment.
Yes,
they only live and only can eat eucalyptus leaves. So if which one existed first?
What came first, the leaf or the koala?
Right. The koala can only eat eucalyptus leaves. Period. They don't eat anything else. They've only lived in eucalyptus trees.
Look, probably the eucalyptus leaves existed first. The koalas only survived because they learned to adapt.
How did they learn to adapt? What did the koala live on before the eucalyptus leaf?
French fries.
Things that they lived on other things that killed them.
It's getting a little koala.
Yeah, it has gotten more. It has got more koala heavy than I ever expected. Here's
a dolphin and a whale are both mammals. They both breathe air.
Yeah.
But explain a whale. A whale eats plankton, and their digestive system is especially designed for it. How they eat plankton.
Yeah.
Explain how a whale existed and what the whale existed before the plankton. Or the plankton, what was the whale eating before the plankton?
All right, here's Jessica in Chicago. You're on with
hundreds and thousands of these examples.
Right. I know, you got him. Here's Jessica in Chicago. You're on with our buddy Robert.
My problem is the ego it takes to think that you understand. And now he understands that heaven is a myth. And Paula before understood that God was...
It's
really
all in the Bible. If you read and study the Bible, you would understand.
What about milk and clouds? You drink milk and clouds?
That's in the You get his point, though. Milk is delicious, and you're not really being a spiritual person when you're drinking milk. You're being a physical person. You know, this is a physical place. Here is Herbie in Minneapolis. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, the conversation's really gone the other way. Great show.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to say back before when you were talking about the universe evolved almost to produce the human brain.
Yeah.
And then you also had some comments about kind of trying to draw this sort of integration between science and religion. And there was a guy, a Catholic Jesuit priest in the 1920s called Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He was a paleontologist and a priest, and he tried to reconcile biblical with scientific evolutionary theories. And he did a pretty good job to the point where the church, banned him. But today he's known as the patron saint of the internet, and it's because his basic theory was that inorganic matter, the universe itself, slowly becomes complex. So you have carbon that treated with electrical pulses and evolutionary forces becomes proteins. Proteins become plankton and molecules. They start getting more and more organized, more complex. Eventually, the same stuff that was inorganic becomes something like a human brain. So what he would said in 1920 is that the universe is becoming self-aware of itself through evolutionary organization.
Well, and that would be. We're gonna have to let you go, Robert. You're getting your radio up too loud. The main thing is just wait around long enough, and something will happen. That's what I would do as a scientist. I would go, give me 2 million years, and I'll turn this thing into something else, much more interesting. That's all I need is 2 million years, and I'll get this pen to swim. Trust me.
And then the Nobel Prize is mine.
I'm going to call it the Nobel Prize. I nobly accept this prize. I love when everybody jumps in. I think that you could have these discussions without everybody getting so mad at each other and calling each other stupid.
Yeah.
There's only one stupid person here today, and that's Joey Jojo.
Yeah, what?
See? Proves my point. Do you think you could change Joe's look while he's going through this new...
With his new girl?
Yeah. By the way, the conversation we had earlier about a guy like Joe who won't commit to a girl because he's so committed to his guy friends.
His set dressing friend?
Yes. Is that, as they say, a little gay?
A little, because he has a lot of roommates. So I don't know what they all do, yeah.
But they just want to be together.
Just want to bro out, yeah.
Yeah, you fear sex with each other, though, right?
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah.
But you want to spend every other moment of the day.
I love those guys. I want to eat with them. I want to, watch TV with them.
You guys never fight?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
We can be quite catty.
They get all riled up.
Yeah, they do. And then just start poking at each other. This Saturday, GPS.
That's right.
At 3 p.m. East on Deep Tracks, Channel 27.
3 p.m.
See, Gail proved the thing in radio when you're talking with someone and they say that's right. So that means I have no idea where I'm going with this.
Yes.
But on all the commercials, that's right, Ron. Like we have done that since the beginning of radio. And you can see it in TV and radio when anyone says to each other, that's right. So we're sending it out here to, Joey Jojo. He's at the junior high school. That's right, Ron.
That's right.
Well,
I am.
I was going with a time that started with an S, and it felt wrong. I was like, well, that's right. It is going to happen on Saturday.
Well, we don't need. I mean, our thing isn't even specifically about what time it is. It's just going to happen. And I'd like to, we're going to be able to tweet, maybe even Periscope before it happens.
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this GPS.
This is your favorite one. This is very Gail-centric.
My baby, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got to think of a town after this one, too.
I know. After our conversation yesterday, I have some opinions.
Well, if you read and understood the Bible, you would realize that it really has to do. We've got to be on the Mississippi River.
I read it, but I didn't understand it. So I feel like I'm halfway there.
I understand it, but I refuse to read it. And I just pick up pieces here and there from other people because I try to read it and then I go right to sleep. Reading a Bible and licking a Quaalude, pretty much the same thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
What? Have you guys seen Fargo yet? Did you see Fargo last night?
I'm catching up right now.
I missed last
What do
night.
you mean right
I
now? Is
watched
it on the
it.
inside of your glasses?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
You still loving the show?
I'm loving the shit out of this show. Last night's episode was riveting, uncomfortable, and terrifying for me.
And yet I thought more of a kind of transforming, you know what I mean? Like it's, because the week before is the one that got to me.
Yes. But there are characters like that I'm growing like real disdain for in this last episode.
Tell me one.
Dude, would it be a spoiler?
Well, just write it down then.
Okay.
Because I don't think that's a spoiler.
How's Mike Milligan doing?
I'll tell you who it is. It's the blonde who,
The daughter?
yeah. No, not the daughter. The wife of the...
Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah,
Kirsten
everybody's hated Kirsten Dunst since the get.
But it's
since
getting,
episode
but
one.
it's getting
How
so
could it
bad.
get? Do you know what she did in the first two episodes?
I know, but it's getting so bad. And then something really bad is going to happen. And it's her
First of all,
fucking fault.
Something, you could have said that from the very first episode. She did not take responsibility. And what was said last night by John Wilson's kid, I forget his name. Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Was so great that I'll repeat at other times in my life after you idiots catch up with it. But that was always good about even the Coen brothers, Fargo, is that they would just give you this thing where you're like, yes, I can use this metaphor for the rest of my life.
How about what they ended the show with?
And that's
was
the
a
second
version,
week in a row that
Yeah.
I think that they end it with from a different Coen brothers movie.
Yeah, an homage to the Rose Connolly song.
Homage or just ripping off the music from the other ones? But that thing they said that something happens and you're acting like it didn't and you're walking around
Yeah.
like this hasn't already played its course out. I mean, he was so smart and matter of fact and strong.
Yes, and so scary the way he was saying it too.
Yeah.
Like I was scared for them, even though I blame them.
And yet, you know, he couldn't have been more right. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you got to wake up to things.
But there's that thing where you believe that you're treading water and you're just fucking not. You're like, I can handle this. I can make this work out, and it's not happening. The thing is already done.
Right. It's like if you have a tooth problem, by the time it gets to a toothache, there's very little a dentist can do for you.
Just yank that shit out of there because you've ruined your tooth.
Yeah, you've ruined it, and if you would have gotten it to it at any time before then, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Now, you explain that to people, and even after getting the toothache, they'll still try to go another week or two without seeing a dentist.
Yeah. This will fix itself. This tooth.
Or put some of this numbing stuff that I got, or I think it's pretty good. It's coming down.
And how long you live with pain of something like that.
Right.
It's scary. It's a good episode, guys.
It's a great episode.
I'll watch it tonight.
It's not, for you, you're not going to watch it as much, Chris, because it's not a great action episode the way you like.
I like gunfights.
There's a good action scene, but not compared to previous episodes where it was
people I didn't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever. This is war.
God, she's good, huh?
Everybody's good in this. Everybody loves Raymond's brother is fucking amazing in it, man.
Yeah, he is like a totally different person. It's pretty strange.
I think that's closer to being him than anything I've ever seen.
You think so?
Yeah, I did not mess with him. And I think he's a really, driven, intense guy. I really do. And if you look at people, if you just thought, what if they picked that business instead of show business? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just to be. like use your own intimidation or use your ability to be someone else.
But, some people aggressively, business itself is very aggressive. And when you're like, hey, we're coming in to take over this territory, it's a very warlike thing to do.
Yeah.
You're just not actually shooting people. Right. But everything else is done exactly the same way.
Yeah. You're probably making just as much terrible decisions oftentimes, affecting other people in negative ways, but
happens all the time, and then you can sleep like a baby at night. All right, that's it for us. Wrapping this up. I think we solved the problem of evolution.
Yeah.
God, the Bible, the devil, heaven, hell, all taken care of.
We fixed it.
In one show. You got to go see the ants on the iBank today. What was the one that you sent? You sent a bug too, right?
Yeah, I have the bees swarming a drone. A drone like goes into bees' airspace, essentially, and they attack it like it is a creature that is invading their territory. It's really scary. Also makes me wonder, does this just happen all the time to birds and other creatures?
Yeah, but
we don't think about it, but
birds are faster. But yeah, all kinds of animals get stung by bees.
They're just like, outsider, attack.
Joey Jojo has one that Gail and I refuse to look at.
I won't see it.
Don't.
It's a lot of bug-related stuff. Evolution, bugs, creepycrawlies.
Big leaves.
And then the frozen bubble today was just so
that
beautiful.
so cool? A bubble just freezing in like 10 seconds time because of the air in Canada's insanity, and I don't know how anyone can deal with it. But it's a soap bubble that just goes completely frozen over like a frozen globe just in a second.
I saw the people in Canada during the winter will do that stuff where they throw the hot water in the air
Yeah,
and
and
have
it
it
just,
just freezes in the air. It's amazing.
And it just turns to like snow, like from water to like frozen. It's crazy. Look at how nuts this is. Soap bubble. You're just watching like...
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like
It's so
magic,
pretty.
right?
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's the same. It's the same size as a baby as it is for an adult. Bubbles never change size. They're like the human eye that way.
Yep. That's why babies are so cute. Those giant eyeballs.
Sure, I love giant eyeball babies. Just knowing that eye is so giant in the back of their head.
So vulnerable too.
Yeah, I could just stick a thumb into it or a small hat pin. Just dig that eye out.
Hat pin.
Normally, I'll say to babies, "Do you know how easy it is for me to kill you right now?"
I have a melon baller in my cabinet.
Right, you could be blind within seconds. It's up to me whether you are or not.
Up to
And
me.
then like this. And here's oh wait, your mom's coming back. Do not say anything to anybody. Wait for later. Jimmy Kimmel did that bit that he's got every year of telling the kids that you ate their
Oh yeah.
Halloween. And he's actually like, I don't understand how these kids aren't catching on to it. And I'm like, Jimmy, they were babies before.
Yes, they're
When
not
you started this 4 years ago, they were 2. They're not fucking. And the last person you expect to lie to you is your parents.
Oh yeah. You never catch on to that shit.
Mm-mm. All right, we got to get going. This is the end of the show.
Yes.
Glad we could sum up evolution, God, life, death, heaven, hell, eternity, vacuum.
You're welcome.
And also thank you, because without you, we probably wouldn't have done the work on this, and we wouldn't have won the Nobel Prize. Chris, you ever going to get back to periscoping, or are you going to wait until you kick this drug sickness?
I'll be back on Periscope soon enough. Don't you worry. All the Scope Bros out there, I know they're clamoring for me to get back on.
Not one is.
Oh, really?
It
Really?
seems like they're all Joey Jojo people now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they are.
They're
love
nothing.
Snooze, you lose.
I never sleep.
Not now that you're off.
But yeah, I'll be coming back this Periscope. Don't worry.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Alrighty.
Tried to leave 5 times today. GPS.
3 p.m. Saturday.
3 p.m. Saturday.
And I'm pretty damn sure of it this time.
Deep Tracks, Channel 27.
It's a pretty good show. The Witch is Brew.
Deep Tracks.
It's on Deep Tracks. Channel 27.
Do you like your Twax deep? And I mean really deep?
I prefer my Twax pretty deep.
We're out. Bennington Show. Peace. See y'all again. 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!